Howdy, and welcome to another episode of Adult Onset Horsemanship. I'm your host, Daniel Dolphin. Our guest today is a good friend of mine and a guy whose art I've been following for quite a few years. He is a famed bit and spur maker, past president of the TCAA, the Traditional Cowboy Arts Association, a true craftsman, artist, fellow gun connoisseur, Mr. Wilson Capron. How are you doing today?
Great, Daniel. Good to be here.
Well, I've been looking forward to this one for a while. We've been in touch a little bit through the years, and we hadn't met face-to-face yet, but my phone conversations with you are always pretty fun. I hope one day we get to share a glass of whiskey or rum or something like that and shoot the bull.
Absolutely. The world is a small place, and the phone is certainly. And there's Zoom. Here we are looking at each other. Never met eye to eye, but we can look at each other and have a great conversation. And I grew up in a very rural part of the world where your closest neighbor was about 6 miles away. So if you got to talk to somebody, you made damn sure you were friends with them before you left. So that's the way I go about my day. You know.
Very good. Very good. While I'm thinking about it too, I'll plug your dad. Wilson is the son of a man that wrote a story called Murder Steer. I mean, there's really no more introduction that needs to be said on that, right?
Well, I'm not sure he wrote. It's a true story, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a true story, and it's been written about by somebody else first. He illustrated this story, is what it boiled down to.
Okay.
But he certainly has told it, and that's a big deal there at Alpine. And I've heard it 13 different times, and I can't remember it, but I just know the steer was branded murder across it, right? It was who he belonged to, I think, and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, Pop is an artist. He's an illustrator and cowboy, and quite the man. I've been all across the world. People say, "Man, Wilson Capron. You any kin to Mike Capron?" Yep, that's Pop.
Well, I would definitely, while we're talking about that, if y'all do Instagram, y'all need to follow Wilson and his dad. I think your dad goes by MW Capron on Instagram, but definitely some cool stuff to look at through there. And I'm also bothering Wilson on a Wednesday, and he has a famed YouTube channel where he does Workshop Wednesday. So I feel very privileged to carve a chunk out of a valuable Wednesday for him.
Well, I'll tell you what we might do since you bring that up. Is I might grab the old phone here and do Workshop Wednesday and tell them exactly what I'm doing. They can plug your deal and plug my world all at the same time. So if you don't mind, we might do Workshop Wednesday in the middle of this deal.
Absolutely, man. You can sit there and take her on something while we talk. That won't bother me.
Well, we'll just do a short little video and say hello, and then we'll go on. But,
cool.
We get a break, we'll do that.
Okay. Well, we start everything off with the lightning round questions just to help everybody relax. Obviously, you're very tense and nervous this morning.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and start off. So what is your favorite way to relax?
Man, I can be happy wherever the heck I need to be. You know, my favorite way to relax, I mean, let's just put it this way. At 25 years old, I left Greg Darnell to become a bit and spur maker. Well, not really to become a bit and spur maker. I have become a bit and spur maker since I left Greg because I've never done anything else except that. And I tell everybody I retired at 25 years old. So my happy is in my shop. It really is. My happy is in my shop. I love for many, many years I roped. That was a quick release. I love to rope. I love the art of roping. It is absolutely fun. I don't get to do it much anymore. I can't rope. It's a lot of commitment. So I always want to be the best I can possibly be at whatever I do. Roping was relaxing. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Now long range shooting is fun. Little varmint hunting's fun. Drinking a glass of whiskey with the buddies on Friday night's fun too, right? So we'll just be happy wherever.
Sounds good. Morning or evening? Are you a morning person or a night owl or what?
I am a morning person without question. The alarm clock goes off on standard time at 3:30 in the morning, and away I go. I sleep in a little bit on daylight savings because I can work a little later in the afternoons and still have daylight to feed my horses. So I get up at 4 on daylight savings.
Well, that's something. Yeah, I usually think of myself as a pretty early riser, but you got me beat there by a bit. Bay or sorrel?
Oh man, I've won so damn much money. Not let me put much is not the right word. All the money I've won, the most of it has been on sorrel horses. Probably my least favorite, but my two best horses have been sorrel, right? So I'm a bay guy. And one of the most, if I have a receding hairline up here, it's because of a bay horse I owned. Two of them, matter of fact. So there you go. But I like a bay.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Oh Lord, you trying to get me divorced? my wife absolutely abhors pineapple. She hates it, but I can eat it on anything. But if I'm in Hawaii, I'm gonna eat some pineapple on my pizza. But here in Texas, let's leave it off. How's that?
I understand. Or just for guys' night when your wife's not around.
Yeah, we'll just leave it off.
You smell it on your
but
breath.
I'll eat it. Yeah, but if it's the only thing we got on, if it's the only pizza we got, I'm eating the hell out of it. It won't bother me a bit.
Yeah, it's amazing how much marriage changes your taste in some things.
Oh yeah, I love Miracle Whip, but I haven't had any for 15 years. So there you go.
Do you have a pet peeve?
I do. I probably have lots of pet peeves. I try not to. Well, so I'm sitting here thinking, who gets the wrath of Wilson the most, right? Who gets all the abuse of me? And I try not to share that with too dang many people. My poor girls, my wife and my two little girls probably get the pet peeves of Wilson the most of anybody, right? I expect more out of them maybe. My shop is absolutely welcome to anybody in the world. Use a tool for its intended purpose and put it back. Amen. Good God, put it back.
Amen.
And so, yeah, that if there's one peeve, that's it. And in my workshops, and poor people don't have any clue where my stuff goes. I've got it scattered all over my shop. And there's one of them, usually the guy that I like the least, that has stolen everything for the first 2 weeks after a workshop. I've cussed him. He stole it. I knew he took it. And by the time I find it and put it back where its intended purpose was supposed to be, I have to call him and forgive him. And he didn't even know I was mad at him. It's all good.
Yeah. But yeah, I know it. That one that you're sure of so and so moved and then you find it, that's the hardest one. It really is.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite beverage?
Man, a favorite beverage. Like if it's a Friday night beverage, a good glass of bourbon is a good day, right? There's two different kinds. There's quantity and there's quality. If you're starting at 8 o'clock in the morning with your buddies on a Saturday, that usually comes in a plastic bottle. If it's going to be a few sips with your buddies in the evenings and everybody minds their manners, well, there's several ones there. It's a glass bottle for sure.
Okay. Well, what do you mind sharing brands? I'm kind of a whiskey and a rum guy myself. So what do you like?
So Basil Hayden is good. I like the Basil Hayden. I like Woodford Reserve. Maker's Mark is a constant go-to. Had some Buffalo Trace the other day. That was good. What was another? The Bullet's good. I've had several that are good. And sometimes in my TCAA situations, they introduce me to stuff all the time that I can't pronounce and definitely can't afford, but it's usually really good.
Yeah. My wife got me a bottle of Isla Scotch for Christmas. Yeah. It's Ardbeg Ugadal. And let me, like the PD smoky stuff. This is like she didn't dip the toe in the water for me. She went to the extreme end of the scale. This is like kerosene with smoke in it. And yeah, I really want to like it, but I don't know if I'm quite man enough to like it.
Yeah, I like Scotch too. I don't drink it a whole lot because most of my buddies just turn their nose. I only have one or two. My best man at my wedding, O'Shot Brown, mine and Katie's wedding, he liked it, and he's one that got me started on Scotch. And he said, "Here, Willie, take a drink of this." And I took a big old pull off of this styrofoam cup of crushed ice. And, man, that's good. What is that? And he said, "That's Scotch." I said, no, I don't like Scotch. I had that 10 years ago, and I know that's terrible. I've been drinking a little of it ever since. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Would you tell us something unexpected about you? So here you are, country boy from the hill country of Texas, bitten spur maker. What will we not see coming about Wilson Capron?
Oh man, I'm an open book. So to say something that you don't expect, I don't know. I the type of individual I am. Let me blab here a minute and try to figure something out, and I'll tell you stuff. But I do announcements at church, and I'm a spiritual guy. I mean, that's not unexpected. People are or not, but I'll do announcements at church, and I don't mind telling those folks exactly what I did the night before, and I might have a headache right now while we're doing announcements, right? So I'm an open book. I got to be myself, right? I don't want to create any expectations about what I'm not.
Jesus did not turn wine or water into sweet tea, did he? So, I mean, hey.
Yeah, that's right. But, I live so if you're going to stereotype me as a craftsman and a cowboy and some things like that, artist, the stereotype of us guys is we live 360 days out of the year in solitary confinement, right? And then when you throw us out there in public, you expect us to act normal. That's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult for lots of us. I don't fit that mold at all. As y'all can probably already tell here, I don't mind talking. And we all handle nerves a little bit differently, how we handle difficult situations. Mine is to talk my way through it, right? I may get nervous and carry on, but I'm going to talk, and I'm going to try to do everything I can to make that fella like me as soon as I possibly can, so that then we can be relaxed and go on and have a good conversation and get past the nerves. And that is unexpected to me. I'm a contemporary guy that, man, I don't know, maybe you think I'm a dumb old cowboy, but I try to stretch my mindset all the time, type of thing, education wise. I'll use technology and try not to be fearful. I'm scared of my own shadow, but I try not to show it.
Would you this is off of my questions, but would you class yourself more as an introvert or an extrovert?
I'm happy doing both.
Okay. I'm kind of like you. I could talk to people and I can go to shows and stuff and be around people for 5 or 6 days or whatever. But that day off driving back home, like I don't want to hear the sound of a human voice. I got to recharge and nobody talk to me, and I may listen to the songs or podcasts or radio or whatever, but I don't want to have a conversation on that day. I kind of have to recoup, Are you like that or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I absolutely like that. Is a TCAA show. End of April, I was in Phoenix for the Art of the Cowgirl, doing the dog and pony show in front of a booth. You're high energy from one person to the next. Everybody that comes by the booth, you want to talk to them and be high energy and glad you see them. I spent 6 days there doing that. That 13-hour or 11, it was 12-hour, 11-hour trip home was not a bad thing at all. It was just me and that highway, right? And I did have to talk on the phone and give the progress report to everybody that was curious whether I survived the ladies at the cowgirl event. But yeah, it's all fine by myself.
I know just what you mean. Okay, taking a sharp right turn. If you could have any superpower, what superpower would you choose?
I would extend the day's hours.
Oh, man. I'm right there with you. I've been praying for a 36-hour day for years, probably 20 years. That's one of the things I pray for every night.
If that's honest, the truth. And I want to do all these things, and it takes a huge amount of commitment of time to do it, and to be able to have your cake and eat it too is really impossible. And you have to make choices, and sometimes that's tough. And the time is the absolute most valuable commodity I have. So if I could make more of it, that'd be a good thing.
Amen. Thoughts or feelings? So you're more an intuitive type or more an analytical, logical type? And I guess as an artist, you're going to be a big blabber and feeling kind of a person, right? Or no?
philosophize, and if anybody's ever met my dad, we philosophize now. Good gosh almighty, we'll get on the thing and get a thinking. And so thoughts are feelings. I certainly have feelings. Certainly don't want to hurt other people's feelings. And if I feel like I have done that, then that hurts my feelings. On the other side of the coin with that is I'm wanting to talk out of both sides of my mouth, because there's certain things that I believe in, and especially with this bit and spur world that I live in, of business side of it, not necessarily the function. I'm not which I know you are. That's your deal, and I'm sure we'll go there. But I try not to push those feelings over on people, because I got to let people have their own spot. But when it comes to me running a business and making a living off of my hands, I've been through a wide spectrum of trials and errors and failures, and I did not have a lot of examples of success out there to follow. So in a custom world type of thing. So I think about that, and so I don't really care about your feelings in a lot of ways. I'll step on them, but as far as thoughts, I've had people say, how the hell do you come up with those responses so quick? Well, because I'm in here by myself for 40 hours a week or 80 hours a week, thinking about something stupid somebody's going to say to me, and what am I going to respond back to them, and hope it's not as equally stupid, right? So I don't know if I think or feel, but I feel my thoughts. How's that?
Man, it's like it's coming right out of my own head. Are you decisive or indecisive?
Yeah, for sure. I once I get something on my brain, by golly, I'm gonna go at it until I fail. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll try to think about some things, and there's some business adventures that are going on with me right now that kind of side hustle type situations. It's going to interfere with my custom world because that time thing, right? But there will be no confusion as to what Wilson Capron stands for and what I'm doing with my own mark and my own hands. But there's been some thoughts of how to make money and how to make a living, Daniel, that, oh man, it's been very indecisive.
Yeah, I understand. That's Wilson's talking right now about his new line of men's lingerie.
Yeah, that's right. Later on. That's right. I won't be modeling it either. Just no. But yeah, but once I make that decision, then I'm in. Let's do it. Right.
Yep.
Go.
I'm a research person. I tend to think about things for a good long while, but once I feel like I've got the whole puzzle in front of me, and now I see what I need to see, then I'm ready to pull the trigger. So.
Buying things is like buying tools for my shop. Man, I can be like I go forever without buying it. I want a $15,000 power hammer so bad to make you. I mean, you can taste it. I want it. Like I need it. I really need it. Right? It's not going to make me any money. So I had the thought of buying a $30,000 laser the other day. Didn't scare me a bit. I was fixing to roll with it. Now some things have changed, and we don't need to get all into that. But I was going to drop $30,000 on a laser, no problem, because it's going to make me money. I was, it's a side hustle type situation with parts and things, and not necessarily directly with my bits and spurs, but with some other things. And I'll do that. And then, but that hammer, oh man, it wouldn't make me any money because it takes me in my hands to have to be running it. And it save me time? I tell you, occasionally, yeah, but man, it's hard for me to. It's like, nah, I don't need it yet.
Yeah,
so I need it, but I don't need it.
Well, that leads us into the next one. Do you have a favorite piece of tack or tool?
I love hammers.
Okay.
I love hammers. I don't have a lot of them. I love handmade hammers, and I got 2 or 3. They're really cool. Engraving blocks are really cool. In my shop, I could collect engraving blocks, vices, ball vices. And now the least expensive one that I have is the one that I use because of the microscope and different things that have happened. But those are 2 things that are really cool to me. As far as tack, let's just say bits. Just keep it general, man. If I have to be specific about a certain style, the Santa Susana is my favorite style. But I love bridle bits, man. They're the funnest thing ever. Maybe that's why we've connected so good. But it is this. There's so much going on with those guys that it's a blast for me.
Yeah, if I ever win the lottery, you're good to go. You're going to be my kept man for the rest of your life. We're just going to throw some designs on the board, and we're just going to make bits forever. That's
one man can make my career, and that spot is currently open. Right? So, come on.
Wilson has a dad, but he is accepting of a daddy. So anybody else?
Yes, I'll be your Huckleberry.
Do you have a favorite book or movie?
Oh, you know what? I gotta say my favorite movie. This fits that unexpected category, probably.
Okay.
I mean, of course, we love John Wayne, right? Grew up with John Wayne. I love God, John Wayne, and American Way of Life, right? Forrest Gump.
Okay.
The best movie in the whole wide world from a message standpoint. And I feel a lot like Forrest Gump in my life. I did not leave Greg Darnell to become a bit and spur maker. I had a couple months worth of orders. I wasn't going to be a bit and spur maker. Who in the hell could make a living doing that? But like old Forrest, I just felt like running, and I just took what was in front of me. And somebody said, invest in that fruit company, Apple, and you know what? Away he went. And I'm following God's plan. I have no idea what it is. I ask him constantly, what in the world's going on? Am I doing the right thing? But I feel like old Forrest just kind of followed the tip of his nose and did what he said and was true to his word. And man, that in a simple way, that's very inspirational for me. Of course, David Duvall and all of his movies, Lonesome Dove, all that stuff, whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big movie guy. How's that?
I don't know if I've said this publicly, but for me, favorite movie, The Princess Bride.
Princess Bride.
Are you familiar with it?
No, I've heard of it, but I can't recall it.
Oh man, it's just one liner after one liner. The whole my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Inconceivable. I've probably seen that movie 75 times. I go end to end. So anyway,
yeah, cool.
Do you have a guilty pleasure? Doesn't sound like you're a real guilty guy, but anything out there that you got to have a Mountain Dew at 10:15 every morning or anything like that? Oh,
no, not really. I mean, man, if my wife would let me eat more ice cream, I would. I got a sweet tooth about me and all that. But as far as guilty pleasures, leaving the shop can create guilt. And back to the roping days was definitely a lot of fun. I loved it to death, and that was definitely a pleasure. But I did feel guilty because of the sacrifice it took of the old bit and spur shop. Yeah, I know what you mean by guilty pleasure, something that I do, but no, I don't. I can't think about it. I'll probably think about it 30 minutes into this conversation. I'll tell you that. So.
Well, no big deal. What's your favorite dinosaur?
The armadillo.
I
don't know. I wasn't a dinosaur kid, right? I was a Legos guy, but I didn't have no dinosaurs. And so I don't know the Tyrannosaurus Rex. That's the only one I remember. Isn't that the little dude with short arms?
Yeah, the small arms dealer.
Godzilla. Whatever.
Well, like you said, the armadillo. Mine is probably an alligator. We got them, all over the place down here where I'm at, and people think of dinosaurs as being extinct, but we got sharks, turtles, dinosaurs. There's alligators, and there are those that survive.
The antelope. Hasn't the antelope been around since them things? It ain't got no shells on it, but
I'm not sure.
Pronghorn? I think the pronghorn's been here since the dinosaur type. I ain't been here forever.
I know that they're unique in that they are their own genus and species. They don't share a genus with any other animal. So they're like a single branch of the tree with no other little branches off of it.
I'm pretty sure what's going to come from the podcast so far is Wilson should stick to talking about his bits and spurs and not about dinosaurs.
It's just that, once you're about 8 or 9, no one ever asks you what your favorite dinosaur is. I think that, we need to make it cool to ask an adult what's your favorite dinosaur. Who knows?
Exactly. I got a little 4-year-old buddy that could tell me all about it.
Uh-huh.
I don't have a clue.
That's the same. I have my 9-year-old. We were talking the other day, and I think I've said this before, but anyway, did you know that the first fossils were not discovered and recognized until the 1800s? So
No.
George Washington and Thomas Jefferson died not knowing that dinosaurs existed.
Serious?
Yep.
How would that?
And like chronologically, the Tyrannosaurus Rex lived closer in time to man than it did like the Stegosaurus and the Brontosaurus, some of the other dinosaurs that were, I think the T-Rex is 55 million years ago, and those were like 200 million years ago. So just some of those little things to wrap your brain around.
Was your 9-year-old telling you all this?
Yes. And I trust him implicitly. He's very good.
I do too. I believe him. I promise.
If those things aren't true, they should be true. You know?
Absolutely. It's a good story.
Have you ever had a UFO encounter?
You know what? I grew up pretty close to Roswell, so I was born in Carlsbad, so maybe. I don't know. I lived, when we lived, first 9 years of my life was north of Van Horn, 50 miles. There was nothing but stars out there, so there was plenty to look at. But for me, in my adult life, to say there was that time, no, I can't say. I never used drugs, so I don't have any psychedelic experiences that way either. So whiskey's made some pretty bad dreams before. I had to wake up, make sure I didn't do them. But I don't think I've had any UFO encounters.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the end of it. And I'm going to award you 302 points, which is our high score thus far. You have won the grand prize, Wilson. So I've got a box of bits from China that I'm going to mail to you.
I can't wait. I got some hanging on the wall here.
Do you have a collection of do not use kind of bits? A warning sort of I've got 4 or 5 that are I keep around solely as an example of don't ever buy something like this. You know, you have any of that around?
Well, no. And a part of, this will explain a little bit about my openness with somebody is I just let people do what they do. I don't, like with my bits and my spurs. I mean, if you're going to be bulldogging, and somebody orders a 3.5-inch shank, I'm going to tell them, man, that if you want it, okay, but that ain't going to be the greatest experience getting off your horse, And as far as bridle bits and things like that, like if we have somebody, going to do a certain thing, if you're going to get in the races and you're going to be in thoroughbred racing, you want to put a spade in their mouth, I'm going to say, man, that's probably not the perfect bit for that, right? But if you want it, I'll let you do what you want to do. So, yeah. So the word, and I'll also tell you this too, Daniel. If somebody says, "Build me your favorite bit," you're a bit maker, so you probably know what works good. Oh no. No, your hands are pulling on it, not mine. So let's build your favorite bit.
You've mentioned Greg Darnell a couple times and all. Would you mind giving us kind of the 30,000-foot view of, we got a 15-year-old Wilson who grows up to a 30-something or early 40s Wilson? What tell us the path. How did it all come about for you?
How'd we get there with Greg? Trappings of Texas started in Alpine, Texas, early 80s. I don't know the exact date, mid 80s, early to mid 80s. My dad and Greg both were invited to that first trappings. Gary Dunchey, the owner of Big Ben Saddlery, I believe, is the man that introduced the two of them. And within 35 seconds, they were very close friends. My dad's opening comment to Greg was, that's a really nice bit there, Greg. The artwork is incredible. Why don't you weld the damn thing together so that we could actually use it, though? Because it was a loose jaw shank. So that kicked off their friendship. And me and my dad don't share bit taste, right? But again, he's the one pulling on it. I'll build what the hell he wants, right? So whatever. But so that started off a friendship with those two. I'm in late grade school, junior high. when all this is going down, Greg would come down every year, spend some time with my dad during the trappings, and drink lots of Crown Royal, get the purple bag flu the next morning, and all that stuff, and they had big fun. Greg has a son that's 6 months older than me, Sean, who's a successful horseman, roper and all that, and done big things in the horse show world and the training world. And anyhow, me and Sean became friends once we met pretty quickly, and shared a lot of good times together. I was going to school, had come home for spring break, and my dad was running a ranch working, and this is no jit how it all fell down. We're sitting at a picnic table eating lunch outside, and Greg and my dad were talking, and Pop said, "Hey, Greg," he said, "what if we send Wilson down there this summer to work with you?" He said, "I'll pay him." He said, "Y'all don't have to worry about paying him. Just share horsemanship with him and put him to work." He said, "I'll pay him. Just let him live there." He hadn't said crap to me. I already had plans of going building fence with a buddy and rodeoing and all this stuff. And I looked over at him, and I looked at Greg, and Greg was like, "Hell yeah, bring him on. Do it." And I thought, well, I think I just got bamboozled, but this could be fun, right? So away I went. And at the end of that summer, Sean and I would get up in the mornings, ride colts until lunch, go to town, eat lunch, come back and rope until dark, drink whiskey till midnight. It was probably beer back then, but drink a little beer and then have a big old time, act like 18-year-old boys that we were, and start over the next day. And at the end of that summer, Greg and Claudia, that was his wife at that time, asked me if I wanted to move in with them. And if there's one thing about me, maybe the indecisive part, I kind of needed to feel it out a little bit. I wanted to, but I had my heart going back to Tarleton. I was going to school at Tarleton, Stephenville at the time, and I liked that. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go back one more year, and then maybe I'll move in the next summer. I spent every weekend, all the rope-ins. I spent every time that every slack time that I wasn't at school at Tarleton back with the Darnells, which was a couple hour drive away. And so at the end of in 95, I moved in with them. Again, that wasn't to become a bit and spur maker. That was the rodeo kid that I loved to rope, and I like to make. I love to ride horses, and I love to rope at that point. I didn't know. I was just like Forrest. I'm just running, right? I was just kind of trotting along, and even so, let's see. I lived with them for 2 years, and Greg sold a big portion of his company, and that's when it turned into the bit and spur world. And that took another year and a half of me cutting parts before it started to click. And, hey, this could be fun, and I could do this for a living. Maybe not even for a living. It's just this could be something fun for me to do. I like to make stuff, right? I love to make stuff growing up. I just didn't know what to make. And so that turned into that. And it wasn't until 6 months after I left Greg that I decided or realized, hey, I might be able to be a bit spur maker. But that's the 30,000 foot view of Greg. That's dad number 2. And his family is very special to me. None of us talk very much anymore. It's not one of those things where we talk once a week, once a year. I haven't talked to Sean in probably, 5 or 10 years. But I bet you if we got together today, we could have just as much fun today as we did the day we parted ways, right?
Yeah.
There was no harsh words leaving the Darnell family. It's, kid, good luck. I hope it works out for you. I love you. Call me if you need me, right? And that's the way it was with all of us.
What about when you did formally start your own business? Where are you located at, and what you keep saying custom bits and spurs? What exactly does that make? And I guess the TCAA and all, give us that portion of it.
Well, we'll be done at 5 o'clock if you want me to answer all those questions thoroughly. But so I left Greg. My mom and dad lived on the ranch that I was born on, or they lived on when I was born. It's north of Van Horn, Texas, at the base of the Guadalupe Mountains. And it's in the absolute middle of nowhere. It's 50 miles to Van Horn, 36 miles to Del City, which is a little farming community that barely has a grocery store. And El Paso's 100 miles away. Carlsbad was 72 miles away. It's in the middle of nowhere. my dad managed that ranch. It was the first place in Texas that they put wind turbines on. It was also one of two places in the world that had exposed deep sea marine deposits. You can't imagine how many damn people were in the absolute middle of nowhere on that ranch, because we had wind technicians that came from all over the world putting up these wind turbines. And so there was a constant flow of people there. That these geologists, Exxon had big research teams, and the Colorado School of Mines and all this stuff, were people from all over the world coming to see these deep sea marine deposits. My mom cooked for them. There's no motels, right? It's 50 miles to Van Horn. That's the closest motel. Mm-hmm. So we had a big bunkhouse type setting situation, and my mom would feed them all. So it was just people everywhere. And the custom bit and spur world evolved. And the art side of the bits and spurs always interested me. I got started with the passion started with engraving. I love to engrave, man. And that just, wow, that was fun. And I honestly thought that I would probably have to go to the firearms engraving market to realize monetarily a living, right? Is the style of work that I wanted to do that interested me, let me put it that way, that got my fancy. The Western culture didn't pay for it. So I really thought I'd be engraving guns. 6 months after living there with my mom and dad on that ranch, we're engaged, mind you, to my first wife. And we were engaged, living with my mom and dad. Pop said, "Son, you getting lots of orders?" Well, Pop, they're running out my daggum ears. And I was helping him half a day and then working in the shop half a day. He said, "Maybe you ought to go full time just making those bits and spurs." And I said, "Well, you don't need me." He said, "I got the ranch. It's no problem. Go at it." So away I went, and I never caught up. That created the custom world, right? I've never caught up. So 2 years after living with them, mind you, I've been married a year now, living at one end of the house. I said, "Pop, I got to go." He said, "Why? Where are you going to go?" I said, "I'm married. I can't live with you the rest of my life." And he said, "Well, where are you going to go?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm not going to go any further than I have to east." So moved to Midland. Didn't know anybody west, but I didn't want to go east. I didn't want to go too far east. So we went to Midland, and that's where the custom world started. The Traditional Cowboy Arts Association started in 1998. Their first show was in 99. So we all got started about the same time. The Traditional Cowboy Arts Association, the group itself, and myself, we all kind of got knocked off the tit at the same time, and away we go. As far, like custom, what does custom mean? Custom means that I'm going to build you something. I'm going to build your story of the West. I'm going to build your function. I'm going to start out baking the cake, and then we're going to put as much icing on it as you possibly want to put on there, as much as you can afford, or much of your taste, or whatever. The Traditional Cowboy Arts Association was the third silver spoon shoved down my mouth. I was a spoiled rich kid in that I had my dad, who's the artist, design aspect of my craft, and then I had Greg Darnell, who's the mechanical function side. And those two guys funneled me down the path. 2003, I moved to Midland in 2001. Scared to death whether I was going to make it. Now I got a mortgage, I got electric bill, I got grocery bill, feed bill. I had all this stuff that mommy and daddy were doing when I was living with them, right? And so when I bought the house in Midland in 2001, we're rocking and rolling, and we're making it, right? I'm charging about maybe $15 an hour at that point. We're making a killing, right? And we're doing good, and the TCAA was going. I had actually heard of them. I'd seen a article in Western Horseman in 2001. Traditional Cowboy Arts Association did not register with me, but John Ennis, Ernie Marsh definitely did, and Mark Dahl, and the style that I saw on their bits and spurs all of a sudden was all that love that I had in the European firearms engraving, American firearms engraving. I should just say firearms in general, the reliefs and the gold inlays, and Oh, I was like, holy cow. So those guys registered with me, man. I knew, I was like, well, obviously I'm not going to be the first to put some of that relief engraving on there, but man, that's awesome. And then the price tags that them guys had on there, well, that certainly caught my attention as well, right? 15,000 for a bit. And I'm like, wow, they're rich, you know? so that's where we want to go. 2003, phone rings. It's my good buddy Leland Hensley. He's a rawhide braider, member of the TCAA. I didn't know he was a member of the TCAA. I didn't know nothing about it. He calls, hey, Willie, we got this deal up in Oklahoma City. You need to come to it. Oh, cool. What is it? And he said, we got a bit workshop, and I want you to come up here, and it cost X amount of dollars. And I think you ought to come. I was like, well, all right. And hopefully today I'm still a baby bird with a mouth wide open trying to learn, right? I want to stay open-minded about baking the cake or putting the icing on. It will make sure that we're living and learning. But I can promise you at that point, it was wide open. So away I went. That was my introduction to the TCA. And that was my introduction to, not my introduction. Greg had certainly introduced me to custom one-of-a-kind pieces. He didn't get to do a lot of them, but he certainly had those orders in the custom non-catalog situation done for you. He probably did a half a dozen of them in the 5 years I lived there. So I certainly got exposed to it there. But when I got exposed to what was going on at the TCA, man, it was incredible, right? It was a fresh paint can. Let's put it that way. And so it was extremely exciting for me. At that point, so 2003, I said, and I went up there, Daniel, thinking I was a rodeo guy at that time. I was pro rodeo, and no, I wasn't pro rodeo at that point yet. But I was roping with Shop Branham every day at his house. I've been an open roper for some time, and I had been exposed to the elites of my team roping world, right? I'm not going to say I became friends with them yet because they're a little hard to get to know, a little hard to get that door in there, in open, get an open door. Sean had been in the finals twice, so maybe he's elite, right? I mean, I hung around some of them, but anyhow, I went to the TCA fully believing that these bunch of assholes were just going to be good old team ropers that wouldn't give me a time of day. But you know what? I'm used to that. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna worm my way into being their friend and see what I can't learn from them. I couldn't have been more wrong. They were the most welcoming, open-armed, inviting individuals I'd ever been around. I said my mouth was open like a baby bird. Well, they pulled it open wider and gave me some more, right? And it was awesome. I didn't know when, I didn't know how, but I wanted to be a part of that group. I honestly didn't have a clue what the group stood for. I didn't know what its mission statement was. I didn't know what a mission statement was, period, much less what theirs was. It was positive energy, man. I wanted to be around it, and I wanted to be around those guys. And so I applied in 2004 and I got in. It was one of the most nerve-wracking, scariest experiences I'd ever been through, because you're sticking your neck out on the chopping block, right? Here's my neck. Here it is. Whack it with that axe, right? Do what you want. And I survived it. And then the work and the fear and the uncertainty truly started after that. That's you get to become friends with some of the best in the world, and you realize how much further you truly have to go in your craft. And when you get to become friends with John Ennis, who that's an individual I didn't. Yeah, I did. I talked about John earlier, John and Ernie. But you get to be friends with John Ennis, and the world opens up, and you just realize how insufficient you are. Is that a word? Insufficient, lacking. You know, my skill set needed to grow, yeah. And the custom world, that's where it started right there. Is that I was at this time I was kind of learning and developing trying to do business, and I talk more about business than I do the actual craft of the creation of my craft, but I was trying to learn, and the custom world is so hard to figure out, because guess what I want to do tomorrow? Something I've never done before. How am I going? And it's all time. That's all I got is running a business is time. So a custom bit and spur business is, I'm going to put my heart and soul into your story of the West. And I'm going to try to figure out how long that's going to take and charge you accordingly. And I'm not cheap, right? Obviously.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the fact that you talk about the business side of it. I mean, I feel like horse trainers kind of get this too. People do not necessarily appreciate the time that we take. And if they don't appreciate the time that we take, they definitely don't appreciate the 30 years that went into that. It only takes me this long now and that sort of thing. And I kind of feel like, well, like you, the first 10 years of that was impossible. The next 10 years of that was a little bit better. And now it's getting bearable. But if people knew what some of us have gone through, they might appreciate the time a little bit more. Just while we're here on the TCAA, I don't want people to get the impression that that's just a bit and spur organization. And I will put a link to it in the show notes and everything. So would you tell us a little bit more about the TCAA?
Yeah, I apologize for not doing. I apologize to my other 11 cronies for not describing them properly as well. There's only 2 bit and spur makers that are active members in the group, and that's me and Ernie Marsh. We represent saddle making, silversmithing, rawhide braiding, and bit and spur making. Our mission is to preserve and promote those 4 disciplines and the roles they represent in our Western culture. Our purpose statement is to elevate the legacy of the West. Mass production was taking over, and 2 men. The original idea started with 2 men, Kerry Schwartz and Mike Beaver. They're founding members. Kerry is still an active member, our secretary, treasurer of the group. You know, they were at a show and they said, man, I wish we had some place we could go show our work and tell people, share people what's going on and share quality, right? As mass production was taking over and people, our makers were becoming a bunch of part-timers, right? You couldn't make a living doing this, so you had to have a job. So you spent what was left over of time and energy in the end of the day to try to learn how to make something. And then you got China out there producing quality work, maybe not artistic work, but quality functional work could be found, and at a price rate that there wasn't any way you could make a living trying to compete with them, right? It's to this day, if you're in the production world, you have to compete with good old China. And so our group got together and said, we're going to preserve quality and we're going to share that with anybody interested, maker or collector. And collector is anybody that's not making it. That doesn't mean you hang it on the wall. You're a collector. You got a barn full of them, I'm sure, that you use, right?
Yeah.
And so we get labeled.
Yeah, if my bit collection ever gets sold after I die or something, you can rest assured there's horse saliva on every damn one of them.
Oh yeah,
no doubt.
That's good. And and in my world, in my artistic world, as I have in possession a $17,000 bit and $28,000 pair of spurs. Oh, you can't use that. Yes, you can. It's just pretty, right? It's just pretty. But before all that pretty happened, it's made to use. And that $28,000 pair of spurs I have right now, one side of them looks like a $500 feed store spur, and the other side looks like a $28,000 finely engraved, sculpted, gold inlaid treasure of a European shotgun or something, right? It took 2 days to build a spur and 3 months to engrave it. That's what it boils down to. Yeah. But yeah, it's got to be used. It doesn't have to be used. That's a decision my customer, my collector, my user has to make. But so back on the TCA is kind of lost my train of thought, but we're there to preserve that and to share that quality with people and to try to help shine a bit of elegance on our Western culture, right? Hollywood's done a real good job of depicting an individual that is uneducated and takes a bath once a week, whether he needs to or not, right? And a drunk, mind you, an uneducated drunk that takes a bath once a week. That's not who our West is. Can we do that? Me and you've been there. We enjoy those times, right? Mm-hmm. We enjoy the ruggedness of the West, but that's not all there is to the West. There's elegance to our Western culture too that was being lost, and the sophistication, right? We're not uneducated at all. You look at the cattle bearing movies of John Wayne McClintock. That was not a homely lean-to of a house that he lived in, right? it was a very nice establishment, and he was a man of means, and he had nice china and nice silverware and things like that. And so that's who we are, and that's what we represent is those four little disciplines. We don't represent all aspects of our Western culture of hats and boots, and there's lots of other disciplines out there that absolutely have value and a place in our Western culture. The TCA just focuses its attention on those four.
And one other thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but each of you are sort of mentors as well. You all not only apply the craft, but you teach the craft. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Is that's what we do, and I teach that craft to anybody willing to listen. Right? Is like collector or peer. So my job as a member is to build the three best things I've ever made in my entire life, each and every year. So that means I got to stretch myself, right? I got to stretch myself to places that's completely uncomfortable, and then I share that knowledge gained from that experience with anybody willing to listen. And I have workshops here in my shop. Not all members have workshops, but I have 6 different workshops and go around the country sharing that knowledge with anybody that wants to know. My deal with Art of the Cowgirl, I mentioned it earlier, and that's to help mentor a girl in the art of bit and spur making, right? And so that's non-TCA. That's straight myself, and we as an organization have our little educational programs, but the individuals, I'm a member 365 days out of the year. So everything that I do in my shop personally also reflects back on the TCA, positively or negatively. So if I'm a turd, the group looks like a turd. I hope I don't do that. But yes, we as individuals for our group do an awful lot of teaching.
That's very good. And I can certainly appreciate that. I mean, the horsemanship's kind of the same way. I don't go to clinics holding things back. I try to give away everything that I've ever. Sometimes people aren't ready to hear everything I have to say, but I'm here to talk anyway.
I tell them this, Daniel. I will give you all of my information. Absolutely give it to you, and hope that you start off right where I left off. Right? Is I want you to be as good as me. Come on, get better. But I'm going to charge the hell out of you for my time. I'll give you that information, but man, that time is precious.
Wilson, I think we have about come to the time where we need to speak about our sponsor for this episode. And I hope you enjoy this. I try to always find a sponsor that's custom to the guest we're having on. So this is our sponsor for this episode. As we all know, guns are not your typical mechanical devices, and they can certainly go off at inopportune times, causing massively bad PR. In our modern society, important people can't possibly be expected to exercise basic firearm safety at all times, like on a film set, for instance. Even those who have spent decades espousing how bad guns are laying out true facts about how nobody needs automatic assault rifle ghost guns with 50-round clips capable of shooting 5.56 rounds per second and even hurting people's feelings just by being seen. That's why Alec Baldwin has founded the Alec Baldwin School of Firearm Safety and PR. We teach you truly important things like not placing your finger on the trigger until you're ready to fire. Who else knew that guns have to have the trigger pulled in order to go off? Not us until recently. We've even sworn under oath that guns can go off without touching the trigger, and now we're finding out that's not true. How about not pointing the muzzle at anything you aren't willing to kill or destroy? As you can tell, at the Alec Baldwin School of Firearm Safety and PR, we are on the cutting edge of firearm safety, education, and virtue signaling. In our advanced course, we even teach things like checking any gun that's ever handed to you to see if it's a hot weapon, and what the term downrange really means. If you're an actor and guns are a factor, you need the Alec Baldwin School of Firearm Safety and PR. Don't handle your firearms carelessly like a filthy little pig. And definitely don't let your career be harmed by your total lack of understanding of things that 6-year-old country kids know like the back of their hand. The Alec Baldwin School of Firearm Safety is here to help. We're not really sure what they are, but we're now also selling freedom seeds and liberal tears. Daniel has assured us that freedom seeds are in scarce supply these days, and the country needs more availability, so we're working on it. He's also told us that selling these liberal tears products is a great way to help grease the way and to help us all heal and ease any hang-ups we might have. We're not sure what liberal tears are exactly, but we trust Daniel, so we've ordered a bunch. We're simply waiting on a few trucks from Canada to deliver our order. Should be here next week. All right. What do you think of that one?
It's awesome. I had several long-winded stories come to mind that I could elaborate on. Whiskey induced stories about me opening my big mouth in liberal places that I shouldn't.
Well, sometimes one of my favorite jobs I've had used to be heavily involved with the Boy Scouts, and I was a BB gun range master. And you have to give the little safety spiel to a different group of 8-year-olds every 20 minutes all day long. So I would always start off, I'm holding the BB gun up there up front, and this is my gun. There are many like it, but this one is mine. And then I would do the parts of the gun, and this is the butt. What happens if we have a problem right here and something breaks? It's a butt crack. And I mean, you say butt crack to a bunch of 8-year-olds, and
oh yeah, it's on.
Full attention from then on. So
yeah. Well, that's awesome.
My favorite part of each episode is thinking up who the sponsor is going to be and writing that. So you might throw that into Workshop Wednesdays. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. You know what? We ought to do workshop. Let's do Workshop Wednesday right now. Do you care?
Absolutely. No, jump in.
Yeah, watch this. It'll just be just do a quick little.
I will. I'm not going to edit this part out, but for those of you listening to the podcast, I will put a link to his specific video in the show notes so you can go watch it too.
So, and just for y'all to know, I'll tell you a quick little story. Lorinda Van Newkirk is a lady that she found me because of Ryan Moats had a pair of Spurs. He got a pair of Spurs for Christmas, and they're neighbors. Lorinda and Ryan are neighbors, and she saw Ryan's Spurs, and she sent me an email and said, I don't know who the hell you are, but I need some of your Spurs, right? Basically, is what it boiled down to. And I said, yes, ma'am, absolutely. She had a cute little link at the bottom of her page that said Lorinda Van Newkirk marketing.com or something like that. And so I went to snooping to see who she was. And I was like, holy cow, I know I need this lady in my life. So anyhow, long story short, I hire her and to help me with some marketing and getting my name known out there. And she said, you need to start doing Workshop Wednesdays. Lo, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life. How am I going to do? I'm not going to do a video. I'm not going to stare in front of a phone. And she said, shut up, just do it. And I'd never hugged her. I'd never seen her. I didn't know who Lo was. I just talked to her on the phone, And I won my battles with her just like I win them with Katie, right? I wasn't doing nothing. So I did the daggum Workshop Wednesday, and I got on iMovie, and I edited it up a little bit and tried to, I'm a big-time bit and spur maker, right? I'm selling high-dollar stuff. I can't be putting out trashy content, right? I got to be something special. So I edit the damn thing up. And of course, it shows up about that big on your damn phone. Little bitty, doesn't even fill the screen up. Nobody can see it. I sound like an idiot. And she, within minutes of me posting it, what are you doing? I said, I did the video just like you said. Don't yell at me. I'm very sensitive. And she said, no, Wilson. She said, just do a damn video. You're a dork. Let the people know you're a dork. Embrace your dorkness. Just go. I never met her. And she's telling me this stuff. And I was like, all right. So away I went. I've embraced my dorkness. And it doesn't bother me a bit to do Workshop Wednesday. So
you seem very comfortable with it, yeah.
So here we go. Look there.
Hello.
Guys, that's Daniel Dolphin. He's contacted me. Let's do it. Wait, you can't see me over here on the screen. Let's do it like this. You can watch me watch you. Does that make sense, Daniel?
That sounds good.
So Daniel, tell everybody what your podcast is and what we're doing.
So this is Adult Onset Horsemanship, which you can find on any podcast directory, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast. I'm I'm a horsemanship clinician who's probably best known for talking about how bits function and so forth. And Wilson and I met on Tinder, and here we are.
So
it's adult onset horsemanship.
Actually, Daniel has a sense of humor, as I do too, and we're talking podcast today. Daniel has done some extensive research on the function of a bridle bit. That certainly hits a soft spot in my heart. And that if you can't bake a cake, don't put any icing on it, right? And so me and Daniel have talked a lot. We're talking today about it. We're doing this podcast right now as we speak, and he watches Workshop Wednesday, so here we are. We're doing it, and I thought I'd promote him a little bit what's going on while we go at it. I'll post this here in a little while when I get done talking to Daniel, and y'all check it out. Daniel, how are they going to find it? What's the
if you just look up adult onset horsemanship, you should be able to find it there, or if Google Dolphin Horsemanship, DAUPHIN, you can find it through my website too.
So when's a scheduled plan on this podcast being aired?
This one will probably be out in about a week and a half. The Monday of the 21st is probably when this one goes live. So
February 21st. February 21st, this will be out. And he promised me he's going to do some editing to make me sound better than what I do, but y'all are used to me sounding like a dork, so it's all good. We'll see y'all next week. Happy Workshop Wednesday. Adios. We did it.
All right. I've been wanting to work in some unnecessarily bleeps, like you said, a bad word, just in the random middle of a sentence, so I might add some of those in there for you, too.
That's all good. It's all good. So have you listened to either of Clinton Anderson's podcasts that he did on the Gauge? No, it's on the Gauge. Have you heard of the Gauge?
I've heard of the Gauge. I haven't listened to it. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Well, Clinton is not bashful about his vocabulary. It doesn't offend me at all. I mean, I'm not offensive at all, but he talks about it. And it's kind of funny. People, the first person that sent to me said, "Hey, be careful of the language, but I think you might like this. You two are kind of similar." And I've never met Clinton, but in a lot of ways, we're 180 degrees apart. In a lot of ways, we couldn't be any more similar. And when it comes to business and being bold with your business and making a living and connecting with people, we connect in a lot of ways. I'd love to meet him one day. Maybe one day I will. I'm mentioning it now. Maybe somebody watching this knows Clinton. I'd like to meet him. It'd be fun.
I'm sure y'all would get along. He's a funny guy too.
You know him?
Not well, no. We know some people we have in common, I guess. Yeah. We're both pretty close to.
From the sounds of it, he's got his ideas and he's pretty opinionated on them. But if you follow along with him, I guess you're good. If you don't, well, too bad.
Yeah. He definitely falls into that camp. Yeah, he is who he is. So.
Yeah, which is good, right? We can all get along with people like that.
I view us all like different flavors of ice cream. You know, some people like chocolate, some people like vanilla, some people like Rocky Road. I mean, it's whatever you like. You know. So.
I just want people to be who they are, so that they can accept me being who I am. Because I'm good with you being you, right? It don't matter. You want to pull on your horse that way, you pull on it. I'm not going to say I'm going to do it because I can't make it work, right? But what you want to do, let it roll. Well, go ahead. I interrupted you.
Well, why don't we talk about, you talked about Workshop Wednesday. So far we've talked about you as a bit and spur maker, but you also are a teacher of the craft. So you want to talk a little bit about that side of things now?
Sure. So, and it kind of all got started with the TCAA. We were doing workshops and just sharing the skill set with what we do. It's my happy, Daniel, is doing one of a kind pieces, one-offs, the big fancy high-end $20,000, $30,000 things that take me 3 or 4 months to do. That's my happy. But I love people. I love sharing with people, and there's been a demand come up of, hey, can you do workshops? And honestly, the cash flow is a little better in teaching a workshop than it is making bits and spurs a lot of times. So I decided to make a little business there. I have 2 stresses in my life: cash flow and commitment. So if I'm going to, you get it? Yeah. bulldog mouth and a chihuahua ass. Sure, I'll do this for you tomorrow. And then figuring out how to pay the banker and the wife those are problems. So when I do these workshops, commitment stress goes through the roof because now I'm no longer doing what I told somebody that I would do for them 3 years ago. So I charge extra. I make more doing workshops than I do making my bits and spurs. This is going to sound bad. I honestly don't care about somebody's career. I want to teach them as much as I can. I want to give them, if that's all of my knowledge, if they can take all of my knowledge in a 4-day period and go home and be as good as me, that does not hurt my feelings at all. It makes me proud, makes me happy to see somebody do that. But with the statement of I don't care about their career, if I give them all that knowledge in a 4-day span and they go home and they never, ever, ever do another thing with it, if I truly cared about their career, that would hurt my feelings. It doesn't hurt my feelings for you not to use it. You paid for my time. I gave you my knowledge, and what you do with it after that is entirely up to you. And if you want to get on this journey with me and row this old boat, by golly, there's room, man. You get in with me and we'll all go down this stream the same way. And I love teaching. I look at my teaching just like I look at my bits and spurs as a product. I need to be a good teacher. I need to be able to articulate. I need to be able to articulate multitude different ways to try to make it make sense with whoever it is I'm talking about. And I was the waterhead in class that they had to explain it 14 different ways before I finally got it. Right. So I always have one of those in my class that I can sympathize with, and I'm trying to do everything I can to figure out how to do it. I had a close friend that was in the education business, 70 years old, teaching in one of my engraving classes. And the third day of us racking our brains, trying to break some old habits and go some new directions, he said, Willie, you're finally teaching a little bit better today on the third day. He said, you're doing a better job. And I thought, man, I've been trying to get into you the whole time, all the different ways. Finally, I said it some way you understand, right? But teaching is good, man. It's a good way, and part of the marketing and branding of what I do. This is a side street, but how many people do you know have ever picked up a hammer and chisel, a file, a graver, and tried to make something with it, right? Not a lot of people. Everybody that had to endure kindergarten got a big chief tablet and a great big pencil, and they said, draw a pretty picture and color it and tell us about your family vacation. Well, good gosh. We all know how hard that is to paint a pretty picture like my dad does, right? It's like they all look at my dad's stuff and they go, wow, that's just beautiful. So by me teaching class, I give people the experience of what it is to create the things that I create. And it gains some appreciation for it. It's like filing a rowel. It looks easy, right? It's just 2 little facets that go down the center deal. It's easy. That's the most difficult thing in the world to build a pair of spurs. That's the absolute hardest part of building a pair of spurs is filing the rowel properly. So if I teach people and I show people what it is that I'm doing, exactly how I'm doing it, and then they struggle with it, they can go and then tell everybody, y'all don't understand how good he's doing it. Like, holy cow, that's hard. So it's a word of mouth form of marketing for myself of my skill set and that's, I'm not trying to be the best. I'm just trying to become the Mont Blanc. There's probably pens out there that write better than the Mont Blanc, but everybody thinks they're the best and they pay a lot of money for them. Well, that's what I'm trying to accomplish as a bit and spur maker. Now, as a little side note, so that we don't have to edit that out so that people truly understand where I am. I don't care about being the best. I care about being the best that I can be. That journey never ends and it starts every morning. So I get my butt to the shop and I go to work to be the best that I possibly can. And honestly, Daniel, most people, because of what I was telling you, don't truly appreciate or understand the skill set that I'm trying to accomplish. Right. And so I don't expect them to understand. I don't expect, for the longest time, I thought people would say, oh, he's really good, so we'll pay him a lot of money to do it. That ain't the case, man. That ain't how it's going to work. It's going to have to be something other than that. Now, they're not going to buy junk for a high price. So I got to be good, right? You have to be good at what it is that you're doing, but that can't be the only ingredient that creating a successful business is being good at what you do. It's just part of it.
At some point too, you get to a level where the only people who can tell the difference in your level of work is the other 8 people in the world that are as good as you are. The rest of us don't know what we're looking for to know the difference. I run into that with horses a lot too. Talk about the skills. The first thing I do at every single clinic is get all the people. Usually we have about a dozen of them in a semicircle around me. And most of the time I haven't met them, don't know where they are, don't know where their horsemanship's at, so I ask them to walk forward 7 steps and stop on the 7th step. Now that sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? Would you agree? It's kind of like that.
It sounds simple, yeah.
12 people. Would you like to know the highest number of people I've ever had that can actually walk forward 7 steps and stop on the 7th step?
If you've got 2, I'll be impressed.
It's 2. Yep. Usually it's
there
1.
You go. There you
2
go.
is the most I've ever had that can walk forward 7 steps and stop on the 7th step. So,
caveat, not sure I could do it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can feel my horse's feet, but I understand exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. It's also a little humble pie. Sometimes you get people that come in there pretty cocky, and then I can remind them 3 hours later, how many steps did you walk forward when we were supposed to, Not that I actually do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So for your workshops, how many people do you take in and kind of what's the process? Are they drawing it out on day one? Do they leave with a finished pair of spurs or what? How's it work?
Spur class and bit class, one and the same, 4-day steps, 4-day process. Spurs, I cut the parts out for 1 spur. Oh, let me back up. I give them a choices of a dozen different things they can create. I don't want anybody showing up at my house to build that bit on day 1. That ain't going to work, right? Santa Barbara Spade ain't going to happen in 4 days or 4 months if I go, right? Yeah. We're not. So I control the pie. And what do we all want to do on our first project? The greatest thing that's ever been done, right? We want to create the greatest thing that's ever been done. So I give them parameters to go within. Now, of course, if they say, hey, dude, I need a little longer shank, a little bigger rowel, a little whatever, right, is that I'll deviate and adjust to their exact desires. But that's not truly the purpose of my class there. The purpose is to create the mechanical skills to create a pair of spurs. So I give them choices. I get parts cut out for 1 spur. Not 2, not a pair, just 1. And we start on day 1 building it. It's going to take us all the 2 days to build that 1 spur. They're going to mess up. I'm hands-on. I'm in the middle of everything. Okay, this is how you do this step. This is how you do. I'm teaching all the way through the whole process, going from 1. I'll have I need 4 people to have a class. I'll have 4 to 8 people in a spur shop. I don't need 8. So. But I've had it sometimes. It's a lot of people in there. We all hang up at the grinders, at the belt sander. And I got 4 grinders, but it's still, we hang up there. So we build that one spur. I'm hands-on involved. Day 1's a son of a bitch. Day 2's a little easier. By day 4, I'm hollering, hey, y'all remember me? This is my shop. I live here too. Y'all need me? Right? But that's what I'm looking for, is by that day 4, they don't need me. They know the stages. So by building 2 separate spurs, it's kind of like building 2 pair of spurs, because on day 3, when we start the next spur, I make them cut out all the parts. They got to run the bandsaw. They got to do all their own. They got to make their own mess at this point. And everybody thinks that the bandsaw or a water jet or laser is cheating. Well, no, it's not. I mean, it's just technology. But anyhow, you learn how to use those tools and create a quality part, and then go at it. And then I'll say, okay, you remember how we did this? And they're like, no. And I'll show them the jig or what. Oh, yeah, I got it. So away we go. So it spurs memory. Away they go. And we end up with a finished cake at the end of 4 days. Everybody's built a pair of spurs. Now, I've had people stay supposed to end at 5 o'clock, and I've had some had to watch me drink whiskey while they finished up their deal, because It's Friday, man. We're gonna have a little whiskey and 5 o'clock. I'm done. Y'all want to keep building spurs and finish your project? Fine, but I ain't helping no more. No, I'll help. I'm there. Bit class is a similar situation. Well, we'll cut out one shank. We'll bake the cake, build a mouthpiece, do the second shank, and put them together. Bit class usually goes faster than spurs. Doesn't take quite as long, depending on what's going on. Spurs are a pain in the ass.
I would have thought they were a little simpler, but I guess the hanger situation, it can get tricky right there, and then the rowel, like you say.
They are easier. The pain in the ass of them is there's 2 of them, so that means you got 4 sides, and it's like, you know, it seems like you're doing the same thing over and over and over again on a pair of spurs. Where a bit, you got 2 outsides and 2 insides, which still 4 sides, right? But it's a lot easier on a bit usually.
Do you ever use like scales to make sure that like this shank and this shank are the same weight or anything like that? Or
on my own personal, no, I've never done that. Greg didn't do that. I didn't do that. Now, I will say that probably ought to be something on some people, you know, they ought to think about it. So when I designed my silver, when I designed my bit, I designed the silver at the same time. So that means I don't need to be redesigning the architecture of the bit while I'm making it, because I've already got my silver designed to fit certain areas, and the boundaries on those is 50 thousandths of an inch. So it doesn't take much deviation to screw up that border, and borders are extremely important to me in design. So they're not going to weigh that much differently if I execute my deal properly. I'm not going to say they weigh exact, but I bet they don't weigh more than an ounce, if any. Different.
Yeah. That can be a weird thing. I remember one of the trainers I worked for, he had 2 bits. They were just production type bits, probably made in China or whatever. Identical, same model, same this, that, and other. One of those damn things rode a lot better than the other one. And they were on different types of headstalls, so you could tell which was the good one and which was not. And it was a fight. Anytime more of one of us needed that thing, it was like who could slip into the tack room and grab that bridle first, because I don't know why it was. I mean, you couldn't visually look at them and tell any difference, but they damn sure rode different.
And you couldn't tell, was it in the mouthpiece?
I don't know. I mean, it was a little short shank, single jointed bit was what it was. And I mean, again, visually, we couldn't look at them. Now I say that like maybe now I could look at it, 25 years later, and I could see what the change was. But at that point, none of us could. And, but we all could tell they rode different. Now, I do think probably, you may have to be in a fairly small group of percentage-wise of riders to have noticed the difference. But when you get in that group, the little differences become bigger,
So I built a bit for my buddy Shot Brown the other day. Shot trains horses for a living. And I shouldn't say the other day. I've been building several bits for him over the last 20 years. And he has a particular mouthpiece. I call it the Baskins mouthpiece. It's kind of one that stemmed from Don Baskins, that what I create now doesn't look anything like what Don originally came up with, but I still give him the name, right? Give him the credit for coming up with it. But anyhow, I built a bit for him, same damn mouthpiece. There was 3 bits. They're supposed to be exactly the same. Well, through time and horse training and wrecks and colts and all the different things, the rings had bent and everything was also the ratios of the shanks had changed a little bit. And there was a particular difference between the old original that he loved and one that was the middle one that wasn't quite strong enough. I'd made it out of material where it bent and carried on. Those 2 rode exactly the same to him. He told me that. The rings were completely different. The ratios were no longer, but he said they ride the same. He liked it. Mm-hmm. And then I had this other one that the rings weren't bent on, that matched exactly to the original, that doesn't ride anywhere close to the same. Mm-hmm. I'm like, Shot, if those 2 are the ones that ride the same, you got them confused, right? And he's like, no, Willie, it doesn't. It's totally different. So I got to evaluating what was going on. So the mouthpiece is all hand forged. It's done on the anvil. And so there's small deviations from one to the next as you go along. Well, the port is tapered, spooned out on the back of it. It's spooned out. Well, when I spooned it out, I brought that taper down into the curve, the juncture where the bars and the port meet. and I'd create a bit of a, let's call it the set. If you take a cross section of it, it was more oval than it was round. Mm-hmm. So when the bit engaged and rolled, the surface area changed from big to little. It didn't stay consistent. It wasn't round right there. So the oval, the point of the oval came down. That's my theory of what was going on. And that's right. The pressure of the bars, right. And that's a big high point on the pressure of the bit. And I thought that's gotta be it. If the other two ride the same and the shanks aren't anywhere close to being the same for measurement purposes, it's got to be something with that mouthpiece that the way it rotated and how it engaged in the bars of the mouth is what did it. But it does, man, it took me a while to find it, right? Playing with it. And that's my theory at the moment. I'll believe it until I'm proved otherwise, which could be.
That sounds good. So is that, I know I've commented on one of your mouthpieces before that you sort of have a cup in the port on the back side. That's the basket's mouthpiece?
That's the basket's mouthpiece, yeah. So it's just like a regular medium port, but then you spoon out the back of it, cup it out. So when it sits on the tongue of the horse, you know, it's there's more space for the tongue to go in there, right? When it's non-engaged, then it fits on the tongue better. It's kind of it's and you can put it in a young horse's mouth that's never had a solid mouthpiece, and they'll lip it for a minute and then they just kind of suck it in. You can tell it just fits on their tongue. They're like, cool, away we go.
I like that design idea a lot. I didn't realize that wasn't original to you, but and I like that you're keeping that. One of my particular sacred cows, I don't know why it is. I've never met Mr. Billy Allen. I don't have any friends in common with him or whatever, but I sure love the mouthpiece that he designed. And it pisses me off to no end when companies steal that design and call it something else. That really chaps my ass.
So are you talking about the mouthpiece that straight bars with the roller in the middle?
Yeah.
And the bars kind of wiggle to a point.
Yeah, but it kind of limits exactly. Yep.
So that was the Billy Allen. That's what Greg called it. So you got to like Greg, right? He called it the Billy Allen mouthpiece.
Yeah, I think they designed it together. Billy Allen was a reining horse trainer back in the 60s and 70s, and he, you know, I guess got together maybe with Greg, maybe with somebody else, and came up with that design. And it's a damn good one. You know, it's got its place in there. It's very handy, and if a guy comes up with something like that, I think he ought to, 300 years from now, that ought to be called the Billy Allen, you know, as far as I'm concerned. So
exactly right. I name all my shanks after the people that they're made for, right? If it's a new design, which I'll do repeats, but if there's a new design specifically for somebody, I build you something one day and you're going to have certain design and parameters and all that. It's going to be the Daniel Dolphin design, Dolphin, right? So.
Absolutely. How about we call it the asshole? How about we'll go with that?
No, I'll show you an asshole and you're not that. I got some.
It depends. You were talking about offending people earlier. I have that problem sometimes. I offend people and like you, it makes me feel bad when it happens, but I always tell them this. I say, if I ever intend to offend you, you will have no doubt that was what was going on. Yeah. I'm not passive aggressive. I mean, if we cross ways, you will have no doubt that that's what's going on at that moment.
on that Clinton Anderson podcast, he tells a story about it. There's always that lady that he can't do business with, and she's a pain in his ass, and he does everything he can to be as tactful as he possibly can. That I just can't do business with you. And finally, she says, "But why?" And she's painted him in the corner of why he can't do business, because you are fucking crazy, and I can't live with that.
It takes way too much of my energy to not hurt your feelings every time I talk to you.
So I just said the big bad word. I shouldn't have said it. There you go. Right. I was just repeating Daniel. I mean, Clinton. Yeah.
It's adult onset horsemanship. So we keep all that out there. All right. Well, which would you rather build, bits or spurs?
Bits.
You have a okay? Yeah. You ever build snaffles, or it's just bridle bits for you?
Oh no! If it goes in the horse's mouth, I call that a bit. So if they want a snaffle, I'll build a snaffle. I don't. I mean, so time and materials, right? If you want a ring snaffle, call Greg, call Troy Flaharty, call Mike Humphreys, call Josh Owenby. I shouldn't say Josh, but people that have a production line, stuff out there, then go get one of those. Probably. If you want to make a ring snaffle or a D snaffle that's extremely pretty and all that, I'll do it. Built a $6,000 one this last year. It was cool, right? It had some sculpted gold on it and all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, I'll build a snaffle, but probably not a $50 one.
Yeah, I can understand. One of my hobbies, I don't think I've talked about on here, but I like to build knives.
Oh, cool.
And kind of like you, I mean, I don't really do that for a living. It's more of a hobby. I give a lot of them away. But when I go into Tractor Supply and I see a $30 case knife that's got 3 blades on it in the case, I'm just sitting there going, how in the hell did they build that and sell it for $30? I mean, that would take me 19 hours, I mean, there's no way I could do that. But
technology.
Yeah.
When I worked for Greg, we built 1,500 bits and spurs a month. I know how to make them fast. Don't like to make them fast.
Just a different deal. Yep. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're solely in the camp of being an artist at this point, I think, and I do hope people are using your gear. Like I say, I would really find it a shame to see some of those bits never actually go in the horse's mouth. And I appreciate the eye you have for function. That was the reason we met, was because of that bits and bitting video that I was doing, and I was trying to approach a few different bit makers, but I was trying to approach the right bit makers. Sure. Because I look at things a little different than a lot of people do, and there are some people that build stuff that I just kind of look at and shake my head and just, it's almost like it was built on a dare or something like that. I've always appreciated not only your craftsmanship and your art. I'm not so big in all that engraving frou-frou crap, but I mean, if you got to have an umbrella pineapple drink, then I mean, hey, that's your.
That's right. I'm an umbrella pineapple bit maker.
No.
Well, no, it's the truth, and honestly, Daniel, that all bit and spur makers, those of y'all that are listening, are bit and spur makers. There's no sense in putting that icing on the cake unless it works. Now, I mean, you don't need a cake just because it's pretty, right?
Yeah.
So that bit needs to work. Now that's a big, broad spectrum right there. What works for you may not work for the next guy that comes in here, right? And I have as a bit maker, it's my job to fulfill the desires of that individual person. And I have people come in here and tell me, well, I'm trying to save the horse. I'd never do anything like that because that just kill a horse's mouth. Well, no, it might not. I mean, the hands that are pulling on it's what hurt the horse, just like the finger pulling the trigger on a gun.
Yeah.
The gun didn't hurt. The gun created the bullet, but the finger's what created the problem.
Yeah.
And
that's the mouthpiece wrapped with barbed wire or something like that. I mean, there's none.
Yeah, you got to be within reason. Got to be within reason. But I try to make everybody happy, and I allow them to have a say in the process, right? And there's not been many things that I said no, I wouldn't do that. Now I've built some things that I thought was ugly. I absolutely thought was ugly. And I show them a picture of what I think is ugly before I build it. And they say, man, that's beautiful. Don't you think that's beautiful? Yeah, sure. I'm glad you like it. That's good. So then I build it, right? And away it goes. And I'm the greatest bitman spur maker ever because I made them happy. Yeah. Right? That's all that matters. I made them happy.
Yeah. They don't have to like your wife. You're the one married to her, right? So
exactly. That's exactly right.
So with regard to the engraving and the laying out, and I don't know the technology or the correct terms, but I'm just going to call them little swoopies. Those little curls.
Scrolls. Scrolls.
Scrolls. Okay, there we go. Thank you. How do you go about laying that out and making sure you have symmetry? I'm sure symmetry is important to you. I'm guessing you're drawing it first and then overlaying, or do you ever just freehand and try not to trap yourself in the maze and paint yourself into a corner? Or and I bet you that's been a learning process. You probably have a scrap pile with a bunch of scrolls in it somewhere in the shop that didn't work out and you had to redo. So
I got books of drawings, right? Books and books and books. And if you can't draw it, you can't cut it. So I spend a lot of time drawing that. I know unless video is shared, you can't see the drawing that I showed a while ago of that bit shank, but it all starts on it's so I use technology. I'm good with technology, but I will draw on paper, exploratory drawings on paper, and then I can take that to my computer, and through CAD designs, I will. If things have to be mirror images of each other, it's very easy to do that on a computer, right? Because you can copy and paste. You can also take a piece of vellum, transparency paper, cut it in half or fold it in half, draw on one side, flip it over, trace the other side, and you got the same damn thing, right? Mm-hmm. Just one's electric and one's manual. So it's just how you go about doing it. Technology is not a cheat. It doesn't draw the pretty pictures for me. It just helps me draw the pretty pictures, just like a template or anything like that. So constantly exploring things. Bits and spurs have a lot of very abstract shapes and places to put decorations, and spurs do. And so you can create mechanical nightmares for yourself if you're not careful. So experience tells you when and when not to do that, and away you go. So yeah, I spend a lot of time drawing. I'm not as good at it as I was. Business is catching up, but I used to spend 30 minutes to an hour every morning drawing. I'm out here in my drawing time every morning. I'm not all the time doing it on paper anymore. Sometimes I'm exploring on the computer. I use Photoshop a lot, so I'll go to my CAD program, perfect my architecture there, send that over to Photoshop in a PDF file, and then with a Wacom tablet, which means I'm drawing with a little pen directly onto the computer screen, just like pencil and paper. Photoshop allows me to have all kinds of different brushes and colors and all kinds of different things that gives me advantages in creating a visualizing what it is that's in my head. So if I get it all drawn down on paper, like with a customer that wants a really high-end piece, you're fixing to spend 20 grand. You probably want to see what it's going to look like before we get started. Make sure that things are rocking and rolling. So I'll give them a finished drawing, digital drawing, say, hey, what do you think of this? Send it to them, email, man, that's awesome. I love it. Or, hey, can we move that bird over? It's in the wrong spot, right? Or whatever. Mm-hmm. So do all that, and then away we go. But it's 3 months plus 25 years, right? It's that thing we talked about earlier. You can't forget the past knowledge and the years it took to get there.
Absolutely. Well, I guess on the materials of bits and all, do you have certain metals? Like do you always use a certain type of steel for the cheeks? Do you play around with that? I'm assuming you don't do much in aluminum.
No, aluminum. I play with things a little bit. Well, go ahead.
Then gold and silver and copper, I guess, would be your typical add-on metals. So I'm sure there's a different way of going about brazing or soldering or whatever you have to do to make those things work. So
yeah, there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat, so to speak. My philosophy is if you start out with a turd, you end up with a turd. So I try to use good metal. I use 4130 for a lot of stuff. Like my spur shanks and my spur bands is 4130. My rowels are 4130. The hinges are 4130. I'll use some 1018 cold finish steel. That's just a mild steel, nothing special about that. One of the best pair of spurs ever made was just good old A36 hot roll, though, right? Just regular old steel. And it probably doesn't make a huge difference at the end of the day about the actual quality of the product. Thickness makes a difference, right? Having enough material to accomplish what it is you want to do and create durability. But I am exploring all the time too. I just had some advice on some T1 steel. They say it's extremely strong. It's what they used to build cranes out of, and the booms and all that stuff. Extremely strong, has high memory deal. I'm very curious how it all works out. They say it cuts really good.
Are you saying T as in Texas or D as in dog?
No, T as Texas. Okay. T1.
I was going to say, yes, if you ever use D1, like we use that for knife steels, that will test your religion. So
yes, exactly. That's tool steel. Yeah. So, and So like my spurs and my bits, so the 4130 you can definitely harden and temper. I don't do any of that really. It's not really necessary. It happens occasionally through work hardening and things like that. But if there's a special thing, if somebody wanted a 1/4-inch bar for a mouthpiece, some kind of weird deal, well, then they needed it to be strong. Well, then I could use some 4130, material and temper it, and make it to where it was hard, but not crystallized, right? But yeah, I'm all the time playing. I don't. As far as my ornamentation, silver and gold, no nickel, no copper, no brass. It's silver and gold. Away we go. Yeah, precious metals, right? They last, they endure. Copper's great. I had a customer come to me one time and said, Wilson, I want you to build me a pair of Spurs. I said, awesome. And he heard I was an expensive son of a gun, right? He was a little nervous about what this pair of Spurs was going to cost. And he was dancing around. And he said, I want copper, brass, and silver. I said, perfect. Nickel. I said, perfect. We'll use silver and gold. He said, no, I like the color combination of those, Wilson. I said, yeah, me too. So we'll use rose gold, yellow gold, and sterling silver. But Wilson, no, I want brass and copper. And I said, I'm not going to do brass and copper. I'm not going to do it. He said, why? I said, because it's crappy material. We don't want a crappy pair of Spurs. And he's like, but I don't want to spend $20,000. I said, we don't have to spend $20,000. It's like $100 for that. So we're spending $5,000 on the Spurs. What's $100? Good gosh. Start out with good stuff. You're like, oh, okay. So away we went. So that's my reasoning, though, because copper and brass will turn green, nickel turns green. Ugh.
Well, I'm assuming you do use copper in some mouthpieces.
Oh yeah, I'll use it in mouthpiece. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they get lots of copper in the mouthpieces.
So I guess we've talked a little bit about numbers. What sort of a waiting list do you have right now if someone might be interested?
Right before we called, let's just say 3 years, but right before I was making phone calls, lining stuff up this morning. And it's always one of the deals I have to reintroduce myself. I'm Wilson Capron, the guy that you ordered a pair of Spurs from 2 centuries ago, I did what? I don't even remember. This guy I talked to was June of 2018. He did not remember. He's like, man, life's kind of changed a little bit. Can we go a different direction and just you forget about me? And I said, absolutely. I don't care. No big deal.
Yeah. I wasn't planning on spending $7,000 on a pair of Spurs this week. So yeah.
Yeah, I said I didn't really have that in the schedule. So, but right now what I tell people is 3 years, and it's probably, I don't know, Daniel. There's so many different things of the business side of it that's hard to do. I've had close friends tell me, said you got to pick your customers, and when you get into the real high end deal and all that is to truly do what it is you want to do, you kind of need to pick your customers. You need to pick the projects. And I've always felt like an asshole. I felt like they were assholes by saying, I won't build you. I won't give you the opportunity to pay me for a pair of Spurs. That didn't sound right to me. But I get it.
I apologize for burning the Alec Baldwin bridge for you right now. I'm sure he's in that book somewhere, and I messed that up.
What Alec Baldwin needs to know is that I'm in the enhancement business, and I can help him feel better about himself if he just gets one of my bits or my pair of Spurs or a belt buckle, right? If he wants to be that guy, I can help him, right? So we haven't burned any bridges with Alan. He just gonna have to ignore my gun, right? No, but it is one of those things where, and it's not just a checkbook, right? That's certainly a part of it, because it requires a checkbook to join the journey on the endeavors I want to do with my bits and spurs, right? I cherish and embrace the art aspect of it in a way I go. So it's not because you're not a good horseman. It's not because you're not a good person. It's because I want to spend 3 months on a project. And if I have a dozen people lined up that want me to spend 3 months on a project a piece, well, that's a considerable waiting list with just those 12 people. And, that's 3 years worth of work right there. So the old boy that shows up and says, "Hey, Willie, I want a $3,000 pair of Spurs." That's certainly nothing to sneeze at, right? But maybe I should respectfully show them somebody else that can do a quality job as well. And because I really do want to build a market for the really, really high end custom pieces. Just like the guys that are building $150,000 shotguns are spending just as much time and education and energy on those guns as I am my bits and spurs, and they won't build you a $2,000 deal, right? They're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the direction I'm headed in it, and it's a little hard for me to say that. I don't know how to say it yet. I guess I just told the world on your podcast.
Well, no, it's okay. I mean, I view your stuff more as, it's like buying a Picasso. Yeah. Or something, it's art and it's collectible, and no matter what you pay for it, we're all sitting around waiting on you to die, and then it's going to be worth a whole lot more. So, no offense or anything there. But,
it's the truth.
Yeah, you can, like Billy Clapper to me is kind of one of those ultimately collectible guys. If you have one of his bits or something, it could be 40 years old. You throw that in a cabinet somewhere and pull it down in 10 years, and you're going to triple what you bought it for. It's just that simple. So, and I almost hate that for you, just in the fact that people are probably a lot more reluctant to actually use your stuff. But I'm just a weirdo like that. I find a pair of Spurs is most beautiful once you see where the blue jeans were touching it and polished it a little bit here, and the inside of the boot that was touching the band, and you see that use, and the rowel's a little flattened on the inside from rubbing up, and there's a little hair caught up in there, from that sorrel horse you won on the rope. And that's when that pair of Spurs is most beautiful to me. It really is.
It's one of the greatest honors for me to somebody to use them. My dad's wearing a $25,000 pair of Spurs. He wearing them all the time. Mm-hmm. And the day he started wearing them, I thought, well, those will never look the same. Guess what? 5 years into him wearing them regularly, they look pretty close to the same, and it's really cool. So it is a great honor either way. I was about to say it's a great honor for somebody to use them. It's also a great honor for somebody to put them in their house and say, "This is so special, I don't want to use them." Yeah. But it is equally special for me when somebody comes back and says, "Willie, I wore the rowels out. I wore the rowel pin out. The bit's worn out." Right? That is a huge honor. And to me, to that person that is brave enough to use them, that piece has more value to them than the one that puts them in a shadow box in their house and never does anything with them. Because now their story is absolutely connected. Their blue jeans, their hair, my dad got his ass, he got bucked off a couple years ago, brain bleed, cracked his ass, man. It was a bad deal. He was wearing those Spurs. It exploded the spur leathers off his boot when he hit the ground. He hit so hard, right? It broke the spur leathers. The Spurs are fine. And when my dad's on and gone and we've recovered from losing him, and we can laugh and giggle about the stories of my dad when he was 75 years old, he got his ass bucked off wearing these Spurs, right? On old Maryland. And so, that's special. Those are new stories. And so I absolutely love it when people use it. And I actually hate it. I feel defensive, and I feel like I need to say something when somebody says that's jewelry. Well, that's a bit of slap in my face, because I feel like it's a big compliment on one side because I did it so pretty, right? That they say, wow, that's above just the deal. But it was made to use, right? And I put a lot of time and effort into creating a functional piece. Now, you want to really slap me in the face, tell me, well, that's just a bit. And they label me as a utilitarian, right? It's just a tool. So all that pretty that you did on there is absolutely unnecessary. I'm sorry, you drove up in a pretty fancy pickup. You can't tell me that you didn't get them roll up windows for a reason. Right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You said something a second ago that it was about your dad getting bucked off,
Oh,
and I've lost it.
that's all right. Yeah, he brain bleed, spent a night in the hospital. Not the first night, mind you. No, hell no. He had to stay at the house and make sure he's going to survive, and then he'd go to the hospital and see what was happening.
Yeah, we get a little. I broke my leg last August, and I've led a fairly rough life. I've started thousands of horses, and I once fell 3 floors down an elevator shaft. I played rugby in college. I fell out of a deer tree stand about 35 feet one time. I've had my ass kicked a whole lot of different ways. A lot of times, I've never broken a bone.
Oh,
And one of my kids' show steers got me down, loading him out of a trailer. It just caught my leg was on the edge of concrete and mud, and he stepped right there. And well, I didn't know it. I thought I'd sprained my ankle. I walked around on it for about a month, and I used crutches and all that, and the swelling finally went down. I had a damn broken leg. My fibula now can feel
got a little knot on it.
where, yeah, it healed like this instead of like that, you know.
Oh man.
So I understand your dad there. At some point, you just, I'll be all right. You know, I've always been all right before. Why wouldn't I be all right this time?
Yeah, Pop's good. He's tough old codger. You get mad at him if you heard me call him old. 77. But if you heard I called him old, he'd be kicking my butt.
You're only as old as the woman you feel, right? So
that's it. That's it.
Well, what about guns a little bit? Let's talk about that. So when I called you the other day, you had just come back from a long range varmint shoot. Is that right? What are you shooting?
Well, varmint, well, it's not really long range. We'll shoot them from the point of the muzzle to as far as we. they got varmint contests down here, so there's different things to do. They weight the guy that kills the biggest, or the team that kills the biggest bobcat. They're gonna pay you $40,000 for the biggest bobcat.
Seriously.
So
goodness gracious.
So when you called me the other day, I was in the middle of that contest. Me and another, you can have a 4-man team. You can enter 2 to 4 people in this contest, but there's 2 contests going on at the same time. One's a big bob. They call it the big cat contest. So you got to kill 5 fox and a bobcat to weigh your bobcat. There's little jackpots that they have on the side streets, kind of like at the craps table, you know. So if the guy that kills the biggest fox or the most fox or the biggest coyote or the most coyotes, there's all biggest raccoon, those are all jackpot type of things. Well, between the 2 contests, the heaviest fox, I think it was a little over $40,000 for the heaviest fox if you combine the 2 contests together. One guy killed a 12-pound fox. There was first through third was 12-pound fox. But anyhow, we don't have a lot of cats around here, a lot of big cats, but we got a lot of fox, so we were trying to shoot the elusive fox to win the deal. No, we didn't do a damn bit good.
Well, I got to say, when I lived around Weatherford, I thought we had some coyotes in Louisiana. We don't have any coyotes in Louisiana. I mean, they're roadkill out there. There's so many coyotes, you can't imagine it. When I went to work at that place, I was a 2-year-old man, and they'd had some bad stuff going on there. So the horses were way behind, and hey, I don't know anybody. I got nothing to do. I mean, I'm riding horses from 6 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. Well, one of those 10 o'clock at nights, I'm in the barn. I'm all by myself, and coyotes surrounded that barn, and it sounded like there were 5,000 of those damn things out there. And we got horses in paddocks all around. And I mean, I'm shutting things down, putting horses up, and I wasn't sure if I was going to make it to my truck. You know, I mean, I'm hairs up on the back of my neck. Yeah. No incident. I come back the next morning, first thing, I'm expecting we're going to have dead horses in paddocks. I've never heard so many coyotes in my life. And, you know, it was a non-event. But so anybody feeling bad about them shooting varmints, trust me, they got plenty of.
So I'll get to your gun question here in a minute, but as far as like these varmint contests, man, I mean, they have 800 teams of people killing critters all over the state of Texas. You know, I mean, it's why it's paying so good. I mean, you start out hunting at noon on Saturday. You hunt all Saturday afternoon, all night Sunday, and you have to be back in San Angelo at a store by 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock Sunday morning. So if you want to start hunting in Amarillo 5 hours away, just leave at 5 o'clock in the morning and you can make it. right? So you got people all over. And I thought, man, there's not going to be a varmint left in the country. Everybody killing all these critters. Well, I think it's a little bit like the animals in Africa. The greatest conservation plan that they've done to Africa is have hunters, because it creates value with the animal. Yep. So now everybody's protecting them because there's value in them. And that's the way it is with these varmints. Now my buddy say, oh no, we can't hunt. We got to wait and save it for the contest. We only hunted it once last year. Let's go. No, you save it. Might kill the big cat, might kill the big fox. I'm like, now we got fox and coyotes running out our ears because nobody will hunt the dang critters. They were hunting them every time they saw one, right? They shoot. Now, oh no, that's a $40,000 cat. Don't shoot it. So, it's all good.
Yep.
My gun interest. So I'm not a gun fanatic, right? I'm not a guy. I don't have a safe full of guns. That doesn't interest me. But my dad served in Vietnam in the Marine Corps, and growing up, he hunted a lot as a kid, and we hunted some growing up, hunted rabbits and different things like that. But every time we'd get a gun and I was going to go to shoot it, we'd have a 45-minute dissertation on sight picture on the hood of the truck, right? I'm like, yeah, I just want to pull the trigger. But the deal is marksmanship was instilled in me at a very early age. And so sniper stuff was always very intriguing to me. And as I got in high school, Carlos Hathcock 93 Confirmed Kills book came out. And my dad had not really talked a lot about Vietnam and his experiences in Vietnam. And he got that book. Somebody gave him that book and he read it, and he gave it to me and said, you need to read this book. This is very similar to what I experienced in Vietnam. My dad wasn't a sniper, but it was at the same time period, same location, Saigon. So Quezon, not Saigon, Quezon. And so I read it, and at that point, sniper deal became really cool, right? The marksmanship became really cool. Well, I had a friend after I moved to Midland that had taken Gunworks as a company up in Wyoming, and they started doing some long range schools and creating the ability for a common old Joe like me to learn a few mathematical things without having to go to college and learn how to shoot and long range. And man, that was the funnest thing in the world for me. So you can go down to the academy now and get you a Savage rifle for $800, and it'll shoot a half-minute group, and you can shoot 1,000 yards out of the box, and by golly, you're good. I have zero interest in that because there's no heart and soul in that Savage out of the box. I want to spend, we got to spend 10 grand on one because my buddy made it, right? And he's like me. So I have high taste, bulldog mouth and the chihuahua butt, but I get into that as a finely made tool is something really special to me. So that's fun. And marksmanship is way cool. So if you got a finely made tool, an instrument, and a skill to go with it, well, that's fun.
Yep.
That's really fun.
Me and my buddies used to shoot. We grew up right on the Mississippi River levee, so that was our backdrop. And there were a few spots where you could drive down to the bottom of the levee, and it would make a 90-degree turn, and you could shoot 500 or 600 yards. So we'd fill up 2-liter bottles and put them out there. And man, that's really cool when you're shooting far enough that you can pull the trigger and then get your sight picture back and watch it explode. That's you get the whole part of it there.
Yeah. Are you're spotting, you see it, you see the target move, and then you hear it hit later, right? That's the coolest thing ever.
And I'm a real big fan. I'm a Smith & Wesson revolver guy, so I like shooting them at far ranges. I can shoot you in the head at 100 yards with an iron sight revolver.
That's cool.
I think it's great. Yeah, I love going to the range when guys are sighting in their deer rifles and they're shooting, a 10-inch group with that thing, and then I go out there with my pistol freehand and out shoot. That's like one of my favorite things in the world to do right there.
Yeah. Well, I haven't shot a pistol a lot. I qualified for my concealed to carry thing here in Texas and all that. I told my buddy, I said, hey, shouldn't I practice? He called me and said, let's go get our concealed carry license. I said, man, I ain't shot a pistol 10 times. Let's go do it. And he's like, dude, at 3 yards, you can't hit the damn target. And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I did. It wasn't any big deal, but and a shotgun, you're safe, completely safe. If you're gonna take off running, you want me to hit you, you're good. I ain't gonna hit you. Birds are safe. Doves are safe at my house. I got them. And in the varmint deal, them little boogers don't sit still very long, right? And so you got to be. I have to shoot them on the move. Let me rephrase that. I have to shoot at them on the move an awful lot. And sometimes I hit them, but I shoot at them most of the time.
When I did my concealed weapons class, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing, sort of like that with a buddy. And I reload a lot. And the only gun I had enough, I think you had to shoot 50 rounds or something like that. The only gun I had enough ammo for was a 44 Magnum. And it's an indoor gun range. I've heard a statistic that 90% of 44s never have more than 50 shells shot through them. Well, we shoot the hell out of ours. And it was my wife's gun. It's got an 8 3/8 barrel, big old dirty, hairy looking. And we're at an indoor range, and he puts the paper up, like you say, it's at like 5 feet or something.
Yeah.
And I shoot, and the concussion of the gun, I mean, the paper blows back, and I got to wait 10 seconds for it to float back down. And I said, can I run this out there a little ways? I'm not going to miss, I promise. So he let me put it out there, and we shot our deal. But a 44 in an indoor range, that's pretty loud. I'll tell you.
After my concealed to carry deal, I felt good about the world carrying a gun until I went to my concealed carry course and seeing how people shoot. Oh no, I'm not so. My buddy would have had a perfect score, except his neighbor hit his target. 5 yards. Like, good gosh, dude, what are you doing? So yeah, it's bad. People don't shoot real good. And again, I'm not Mr. Annie Oakley, but still.
We had a lady like that. She came with like a little bucket, like a country crock container. Yeah. She had a 38, and that was what her shells were in. And I don't know that she'd ever shot a gun before. And none of them matched. I mean, they were all something different. Yeah. She got a couple that got locked in her gun. I don't know if they were 357 rounds she tried to shoot in there, or I mean, what. But it was exactly that same kind of a thing. You're going, this lady's about to be walking around with a locked and loaded gun. Man, I don't know that I feel better about that. But
there was an individual that came to our class that I know was SEAL. He might have been SEAL Team 6 by the way he was dressed. Like, I was like, this boy, like, I need to sit by him because he's going to be able to shoot. Him and his wife, man. And you could tell he'd spent his life at the range. It was all costume. He couldn't hit the broadside of the barn with that pistol. And I was like, holy shit, it surprised the hell out of me. Yeah. But yeah, I think I'd a lot, because I was the dude that showed up with a coffee can full of bullets, like, hey, what do I do here? Right.
Tactical. I used to have this was my sole varmint rifle. It was my college graduation gift. It was a Remington 700, which is my favorite platform. It was their varmint special in a 220 Swift, and the 220 Swift has always been just my. Yeah, you'll burn a barrel out in a few hundred rounds, but you'll have a lot of fun in the meantime.
I have. That's kind of on my wish list. If I'm going to dip over into the quantity deal, I'd like a 220 Swift.
Man, and the first time I ever shot it, I was breaking in the barrel. It was a humid morning, and that thing was shooting a vapor trail. Oh, I mean, it just a smoke line going all the way out to the target. It was. I felt pretty badass. I'll just be honest about it. It was super cool. Anyway, I was at the range shooting it, and they had a group of those guys like you talking about, the whole tactical thing on the other end. And I had just shot what I suspected was the best group of my life, and I did not have a micrometer with me. So I figured, well, these guys got all the gear. I'm going to walk down there and ask if they got one. And they were shooting an AR. They were trying to sight it in. I swear that scope was 8 inches on top of the barrel. I've never seen like a jacked up truck scope. I've never seen anything like this. And they're trying to hit paper at 25 yards. And I wasn't paying a lot of attention. I figured, they dressed the part. They got on $8,000 worth of clothing crap over there. They got full plate kit and the whole 9 yards. And so I go down there for a micrometer. And I realize they're trying to hit paper at 25 yards. Anyway, it wound up being a 1/1200th of a group of a inch shot group at 100 yards. Best group I've ever had. You may have had nicer than that, but I was pretty happy with it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So anyway,
that's really cool. Well, I would like to have one. I shoot a 606, which is a 25-06 neck down to a 6mm a lot. That was my first custom rifle.
Uh-huh.
And man, it's a speed demon too.
Yeah.
38 feet per
Even a
second.
2506 will burn the barrel up. So I bet that really does it. Yep.
It does. It cooks pretty good. Put a 70 grain bullet in it, and it'll smoke down there. But man, what a killing machine as far as a lethal weapon. 500 yards in the end with that 70 grain bullet. Boy, that sucker's good. I got a big chief story to tell you. One time me and my brother-in-law were in a little Jeep one time, and a guy, he had a couple buddies with him, and we got a big right away on the ranch, and it was the perfect morning, right? Cool, no wind, still. And there's a deer, little buck down there, a little 2-year-old deer, good meat deer, but no trophy type of thing or anything. Anyhow, Travis said, "There's one. Will you shoot it?" And I said, "No, I ain't gonna shoot him. I'm a little old kid. I ain't let him grow up and get bigger." Well, the guy in the hunting rack up on top, he said, I need some meat. He said, "That'd be perfect one if y'all don't mind shooting him." I said, "All right, be all right." He said, "You shoot him." I said, "All right." So at that time, I had a little calculator on my phone, a ballistic calculator, and figure it all up. Figure out, and ask Trav, how far is he? And I'm dialing it up on the scope and the turret and all that stuff. And I lean back in the seat and I put my knee up on the windshield. It's old Jeep. We got the windshield laid down. Put it up there. And boom, I shot him. Well, he just crumbled, right? And the guy, before I pulled the trigger, said, "Headshots only." And I like the headshot, right? You either hit them or you don't, right? Mm-hmm. And so there ain't no
waste of meat either.
Yeah, it ain't hurting no meat. Well, I hit him right square between the eyes when we got there, and I couldn't do it another 100 times, but it was one of those moments that it happened, and I'm walking around like I'm a badass, and all that. But so I did call it, right? I said, "Yeah, headshot." Okay. There it went. And then when it actually happened, well, that guy was like, and he told me before, he said, "I'll wash the dishes if you shoot him." And after I shot him, he was, "I'll wash him for a month after that, dude." Like, that's incredible. 400 yards isn't that far anymore. At that time, I felt that was a pretty good poke, but yeah. I guess it is if you're going to try to hit him between the eyes, but which we might get in trouble, might not be ethical and all that business, but did the job.
He didn't feel a thing, and he didn't even hear it before he felt it. So, yeah.
The results was the most ethical thing you could possibly do, right?
Yeah. I guess we probably ought to get back on horses or bits or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
You got a horse wreck story for me? Anything stick out in your mind?
Can you see that scar? It starts actually. You see the little shiny part?
Yep. All right.
It starts over here and it ends over here. I got scalped. When I was 15, I was riding a 5-year-old, putting the second saddle on a 5-year-old, and it's one of those jobs my dad took on. And we don't have a round pin. It's a good old square pin deal. Here, kid, get on him. And I rode him the day before and everything's fine. Well, I don't know. He was moving him around. I'm just a monkey on the football up there, right? Anyhow, old Blue Duck. He was a blue roan, so they named him Blue Duck. That was when Lonesome Dove was. Wasn't that on Lonesome Dove, Blue Duck?
Yeah, he was the bad guy. Yep.
Yeah, he's the bad guy. So anyhow, I'm on old Blue Duck, and he broke in two. And I rode him till he went to the corner and stopped, and I was Donnie Gay's yard dart at the bottom of the fence, and it scalped me. So it's all good. There's all kinds of, man, I roped a steer one time. By the way, they had to do a little stitch in there on my head. It's a 10-inch scar. Got me all sewed back up. Obviously, I kept my hair. It all went underneath the hair follicles and all that. It took the membrane off the skull and all that. Sewed me back up. Maybe that's why I ramble on like I do. But no concussion, nothing, just cut me like a cheese grater. Now, I kind of went into shock, some things like that. We were 30 miles from the hospital, but it's all good. I roped a steer one time in college, and mind you, I was still pretty ranchy, pretty Western at that point. The first couple of years, I was not full-blown team roper at that point. I roped the steer in both front feet of my horse, and then as I was probably a sophomore in college, I didn't have enough money to buy a new rope and not enough knowledge to know how to tie a little knot at the end of it if it comes unraveled. So I just tied an overhand knot in the end of my rope. Well, when I roped the steer and I roped both front feet of my horse, we might have been a little close. The knot did not slip out real good. So when I pitched the rope going, "Oh no, this is good," because the old horse was leaping and lunging and trying to get free, and he's hobbled now, right? And as things separated, we looked like John Wayne shot us. And we chillied out there on our head, and And I survived the wreck. I landed out there in front of him. He rolled over the top of me. And when he got up, he rolled all the way over me. So when he got up, he kicked me right square in the top of the head. And of course, after being scalped, I don't have a ton of feeling up there, right? I mean, I can feel, but it ain't quite as good as it used to be. And so I kind of go like that. And my buddy, God, dude, you okay, dude? And I'm crawling. When I'm hurt, I don't sit still very good. I'm moving. I sit still. I can't. It hurts, right? And then they said, "Oh my God, you're bleeding. You're bleeding." I said, "Well, what's it look like?" And I said, "Ooh, I don't know." I said, "Well, let's go clean it up in the house." We get in the house. They said, "Let's put some hydrogen peroxide on." I said, "Hell no, y'all just want to turn my hair orange." So went to the doctor. I went to the doctor so they could use something beside hydrogen peroxide, and I got a few stitches out of that deal too. But I've had a few of them, you know. I got a funny one. So I college rodeoed, and man, I thought I could rope okay. I only made one college short round my whole college career. Right? I didn't win a whole lot of checks, and in that one college, I didn't win any college checks. Let me rephrase that. I didn't win any college checks, and I was in that one short round. A leg made it back, so me and Sean Darnell, we made it back with a leg. Not Sean's fault. It's probably my handle that created the wreck. He was probably lucky to get a leg out of the deal I created for him. But anyhow, we draw a running son of a gun. We're in Uvalde, Texas, and the arena comes to a point. Well, I'm getting outrun like a by gosh, and Sean's up there hazing at the head, kind of pushing him over to me, which is what he's supposed to do. Well, just about the time I get to him, the steer cuts left hard. And the horse I'm riding takes a left too, but what none of us knew, me, steer, or horse, is the Whataburger sign was coming up at a high rate of speed. Wow! We hit the Whataburger sign dead on, head on, right? Just wham! We go into the Whataburger sign because the arena's coming to a point. Well, Gray was a really nice head horse. Between the time you nodded and the time that you faced, but your life was in your own hands after that point. Is he was typical team roping horse. I wouldn't ride him to the mailbox.
Yeah.
Well, when I hit the Whataburger sign, I ended up in front of the saddle horn, both feet still in the stirrups, but I'm in front of the saddle horn, in between the ears and the saddle horn on old Gray's neck, still holding the reins in my rope like this, right? And Sean looked at him. He looked over at me and said, "What the hell are you doing?" I said, "Getting off, dude. This is dangerous." So I grabbed a hold of the fence and fell off out there in the middle of the arena, you know. Had to walk all the way back up the arena with my rope in my hand, swinging my rope, you know, my gray, crazy horse running around the damn arena. That was embarrassing. That was probably the most embarrassing wreck I've ever had. We went to Mexico after that and drowned in our sorrows. That's my college career. That sums up my college rodeoing career. That's it.
That sounds good. I used to ride bulls, and I went through several phases in my bull riding career. The first phase was I couldn't cover anything. You know, I was a 2-second rider. And then I went through a period where I got hung up like every damn my parents only ever came to 3 of my rodeos, and 2 of the ones they came to were ones where I got hung up. And when your mom watches you get hung up, that's not a good thing.
Oh, it's not good.
There were not that many mean bulls in that area. It was the same stock contractor, you know, he did all the little stuff around there. But they had one named Swamp Rat, and he was kind of a small bull, maybe 1,500 pounds, and had the mismatched, gnarly little horns, brindle. He's just an ugly bastard. You know, you were never going to pick him out of the pasture and go, "No, that's a nice bull." He was the opposite, but he was a mean little dude. Yeah. And so I got on him one night, and I don't know how many seconds. I didn't make my 8-second ride, but I got hung up at the end of it. And when you're hung up, it seems like you're there for 10 minutes. I mean, he probably circled me 8 times or something, but he couldn't really get me right there. I was inside his neck, so as he was trying to horn me, his horn was going behind me, and I was kind of in the pocket, you know, like the eye of the hurricane. When I got unhung, he immediately knocked me down, and I mean, he just tattooed right over the front of me. I landed on my back, and I had one of those vests, and I did not have a bruise underneath that vest. Those things were awesome. but he stepped right on my face. I still have a little scar, basically where his hoof was. I got a little one on my chin and a little one on my eyebrow. And so he goes over the top of me. As soon as that happens, I try to get up and get in the fetal position. Well, he turned around and he came back the other way, and he knocked me face first down and tattooed all over me. Yeah. That was our Friday night practice deal. The next night we had the real rodeo, and go to get my drawing and all that stuff. And the guys are laughing at me. They go, you drew your buddy. And I thought they were just messing around, and no, they bring him up into the chute and, put the rope on him. Like, oh, great. And I got a black eye, the whole damn side of my face is swollen. So I go to get on him, and I get hung up on that sucker again that night. I think I rode him 4 seconds. And he wasn't the kind of bull you were going to win on anyway. I mean, he was the worst draw. Right. Well, as I'm hung up, he steps in my back pocket and ripped my jeans clean down to my Daniel's white ass out in the middle of the arena. It was a 2-ride deal. So I had to go get safety pins from the ladies that put your number on your vest, and I had to safety pin my jeans back together and then go ride another bull right after that. So that was maybe my worst bull riding. I never really got hurt other than that, but he did step on my face and give me a little lucky he didn't split me open like a melon. But
you got a hard head too then, right?
I think so. Yep.
I always tell people, I said, if you really want to hurt me, don't hit me in the head. it ain't.
Yeah.
I mean, hit me in the knee. I had 3 knee operations in high school, football.
Yeah.
Baby calves.
Tasting pennies is just a normal part of life at this point, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's it.
Well, do we have any more bit and spur territory to cover? Have I left something out that you wanted to get to?
I
why don't you talk about your Patreon and that deal
sure.
that you're starting? Yeah.
Talking about education, right? And all that is Kerry Schwartz, saddle maker from Idaho. If y'all don't know him, you should. That guy's an incredible saddle maker. One of the founding members of the TCAA. Kind of beginning thoughts started with Kerry, but Kerry's one that got me started on it. And I'd heard of Patreon. I follow some blacksmith guys that do it, but it's a deal of, it's a social media platform, subscription social media platform. So I got 3 tiers: $1 a month, $5 a month, or $20 a month. $1 a month is for those guys, for those individuals that want to say thank you for what I'm doing for the industry. Maybe, just a little token of appreciation. It ain't gonna do. I'll throw you a little token out there. When I get something done, I'll post on there and give you access to that post, kind of finished product type of things, just kind of an inside track to see what's going on. Maybe see it there before you see it on social media, and not have to search through the things of social media to see it. $5 a month is going to get you 2 or 3 videos a week of what's going on. Just little, kind of like my Workshop Wednesdays. It's just a little bit bigger than Workshop Wednesday. And then for $20 a month, you're going to get a video every day I'm in the shop. And so you've joined the journey. Mm-hmm. The mess ups, the heartache and soul, the heartaches that happen within a day, the problem solving, the success stories, everything that's going on. So that's what the $20 a month will get you. And it's doing good, man. I got about 50 people following. The vast majority of those people are $20 a month. And so far they're really appreciative. So if you join today, you don't just start getting information today. You get access to all the stuff I've been doing the last several months, and so it just accumulates information base there. And so what I'm doing is videos, because I am getting comfortable talking in front of the phone. Thanks, Lo, but I'm getting comfortable talking, and I'm not. It doesn't take me as much time to do a video as it does to type it all out and create a curriculum for people to follow and all that. So yeah. That's my way of going about it. Kerry does articles and all different kinds of different things that he posts, but that's what I'm doing. And man, it's so if you only watch the videos on the weekend, well, you can get 5 or 6 videos all there one day, right? And my videos are from 5 minutes to 20 minutes, right? I did a soldering video one time where you're watching me go at it, and it was probably 25 minutes or something like that, but most of them 10 to 15 minutes. but it's good, and it's worldwide, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do my six workshops a year, but that doesn't mean you can get down here. So you can see my shop, see my world, see how things are set up, and join my little journey there. So it's a good thing. I like Patreon.
Yeah.
I cussed Carrie at first. I was like, no, I don't. Time, Carrie. I don't want to do more time. It's taking me away from what I want to be when I grow up. But it is working out pretty good. It is.
Okay. Well, we'll do a link to that. Is that through your website, or is that a separate deal, or
Patreon.com?
Okay.
Yeah, you go to patreon.com and then search me, Wilson Capron, and it should pop up.
Okay.
I think I'm the only bit and spur maker on there at the moment. Well, no, that's wrong. Ernie Marsh has joined He's joined the battle too. So me and Ernie are both on there. Carrie's on there. But not a lot of us crafts people in our Western culture are on there yet. I know some rawhide braiders that are doing some stuff, but it's kind of like it's like YouTube. YouTube's a social media platform that YouTube will pay you for your content if you get enough followers and people enough watch time. So this is a similar situation. It's just you can have 50 viewers like me and still get paid. Where YouTube makes you have 1,000 followers.
So let me ask you this. Do you feel like there is sort of a renaissance going on right now with bit and spur makers and rawhide braiding and main hair Macatis and all of that kind of stuff? Do you feel like that's growing? Or it seems to me like it is, but I'm not sure if it actually is or if it's just more prevalent on social media so you see it more if you're looking for it. What are your thoughts? Like the TCAA, are y'all a membership organization? Y'all are keeping track of the members and so forth? Or
I'll answer one question first. I'll start with TCAA. TCAA is there unless you're an active member of we only have one form of membership, and that's to be a maker within our group, and that's I don't know how to exactly say this. I should after being in the group for 17 years, but it's the best of the best. You have to be able to walk the walk and talk the talk to be a member of our group, and it takes 3/4 majority vote to gain membership into our group. I have a personal feeling. I'm one of 12. I have a personal feeling that there's not a lot of places for other people to participate in our journey as craftsmen. We don't have a place for that now in the TCA. It's a very difficult thing to address, right? Is where do they fit? I will be the most protective guy in the whole wide world of what that stamp, that logo means that you see on one of my pieces. That absolutely means quality, above and beyond character and the quality of the product. So an individual that comes to our show that sees that work knows they don't have to worry about whether it's good or not. We makers have already made that determining factor for you. You just have to decide whether you like it, right? So that's a deal. Do I see the industry growing? I absolutely do. And I give a lot of credit to the TCA for that. I am a product of the TCA. They started when I started. The reason I've got to the level that I have with my craft is 1/3 of the reason is the TCA. Is they've exposed quality, and they've given you the opportunity to learn as much as you want. So I absolutely see everything growing. Social media has certainly made it easier for us to become known, right? It gives us a platform to show what it is that we're doing. Social media is good in that sense. It's horrible in the other sense, and it gives people a lot of confidence in thinking that they don't have to get any better because everybody on social media loves what it is that you've done, whether you did good or not, right? And so, is back to that thing is we should pick out. You said there's 8 people out there in the world that actually know what it is that you've done well. Well, when I got started, my dad said, your customer will always like what it is that you create. You need to impress your peers, and that should only be about 6 people. So you pick those 6 people out, you build for your customer, do the best possible job you possibly can. Hopefully they like it, but the people that you have to impress are those 6 people that you picked out that truly understand what it is that you're doing. So social media is bad in that sense, and that it gives false confidence to a lot of people, because you never see anything negative.
Yeah, I tell that story a little bit, but it was a moment of maturity for me within the clinician game. I was doing the master of ceremonies for an expo, so I wasn't riding it. I was just talking. And there were 2 other clinicians there that I'd never seen ride before, but I had heard of them. And then I watched them ride all weekend, and I was kind of shocked at how good they weren't, I guess. And I'll not name them, but I mean, and I'm not going to say they were bad. They just weren't, they were B+ riders. They weren't A+ riders. And I realized that the rest of the world couldn't tell the difference. And that was just one of those,
well,
what the hell is the point of being this good when the world doesn't know what the difference is between,
So when I applied to the TCAA, we're there at the show, and you didn't find out at that point for 2 or 3 weeks whether you gained membership or not, and it was all secret ballot. The membership didn't know whether you gained membership or not. So everybody was there was only one person in the county, and there was only one person that knew, right? Who counted the votes, and he certainly wasn't going to share that information for a lot of different reasons. But anyhow, John Ennis came up to me and he said, "Hey kid, I want you to know something. You're really good, but you be very careful who you listen to. 10 minutes of bad advice can cost you 10 years of your career."
Yeah.
And I see a lot of people teaching class nowadays that, man, I understand why they are, because it's money, right? And they're trying to create a business. But dadgum, they're just getting started themselves. And for people to go learn from them is a scary situation, right? And I often feel people are intimidated to go see somebody that's really, really good. I feel like people are intimidated to come to my house because they know that I can do some pretty cool stuff. And so I'm not to that level. I don't need to go there yet. I'm the absolute first person you should try to come to, because I can set you off on the right foot, right? And if you get 10 minutes of bad advice and you work for 10 years on that bad advice, that, I finally got there, I'm good enough to go see Wilson. I'm going to tell you to forget all that 10 minutes and that 10 years of experience, and now you're 10 years behind. So
yeah,
that's a scary situation, and everybody's teaching. Europe, in Europe, you have to be an apprentice and you have to be a journeyman, and then work your butt off for the vast majority of your life to become a master finally. And we don't have that same setup here in America. It's just, we went to college, got our paper, we're good.
Yeah, I'm not sure I know how to feel about that. Like you, I have some, I guess I'll say, libertarian type views of, you do you and whatever, and you should have the freedom to do you, whether I agree with that or not, or whatever.
I agree.
Yeah. At the same time, I mean, I apprenticed riding horses for 6 years under other guys, and it pisses me off when I see some of these people that think they're ready to teach the world, and they're still green as grass, and you're just like, man, you got years more before you're ready to, what you're talking about. But
what happens is, and I see this in the bit and spur world, I actually probably place more blame on the people asking them to teach them than I do the people having the class. If you got 30 people like, dude, I just want you to teach me a class. Come on, why don't you do it? Why don't you do it? We'll pay you $1,000. You got 30 people doing it. You're like, oh, that ain't hard to figure out, right?
Yeah.
So they go and do it, but it's the people that are intimidated or whatever, and they're all ignorant too. They don't know what's good and what's not. They're just getting started. Hey, this guy does it. Get him to teach me. It's just, and I'm with you. Let everybody, if the queers want to get married, they get married. I'm good with that. It's no big deal to me, right? I don't have to answer for them. And I have friends that are homosexuals, right? Whatever. Y'all do that. You do you, I'll do me. To get a little political there, but the deal is with this teaching thing. Gosh dang, it can really mess some things up, and false confidence, right? I'm a teacher, so we both graduated from college. I bet you had some professors that taught class that couldn't get a job doing the actual profession that they were teaching, so they went back to college and taught.
100%. Yep.
And it's like, if my mom was a teacher, and she said, if you fail out of the world and you can't do anything, you can always go back and be a teacher.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. Some of the greatest influences I've had in my life are school teachers and coaches, but man, I've had some negative influences in those experiences too.
Yeah. That's one of the tricks. I mean, like people ask, I say that about clinicians. Whenever I'm sending emails, like I knew you, but some of the people I'm asking on for guests are total strangers, no idea who I am. My first line is, my name is Daniel Dolphin. I'm one of the 8,713,612 horsemanship clinicians in the United States.
That's right.
I got people, I'm like, you were in a clinic with me 3 years ago and you couldn't ride forward 7 steps, and now you're putting on clinics yourself. What? I mean, what's going on, man? But again, I don't hold it against you. If they're going to come and they're going to spend their money, do whatever. But that is the trick, is how do you get the public to recognize the difference? You know, that's the thing to figure out for me. But
it's so hard. We don't have stats, right? We're not in the NFL, and it's I got 32 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, right? I'm good because we don't have that in our world. I mean, we can show stats. Oh, he sold a $30,000 bit. Well, so what? People don't care.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Yeah, I've had people come to me and say, I don't know if I could build a pair of Spurs worth that much. I said, me neither. I haven't sold these yet. So I don't know if they're worth that much either. We still got them.
Yeah. Well, the horse training game is kind of the same deal. You get the whole, well, so-and-so just brought a 2-year-old to the futurity sale and sold it for $450,000. So he's the big swinging ape around here. I'm like, yeah, but I got 8 horses in the barn that he blew the hell out of, and I'm trying to fix and put together right now so you can ride them to the mailbox. So you're taking a risk there too. But anyway.
Exactly right.
All right. Well, man, we've been talking a pretty good little while. You ready to go get you a sandwich or something, and we'll call this good?
I got to tell you, Daniel, so 12 o'clock is lunchtime. Here we are at 1, my time, your time too, I guess. And the rule is from the time you get done eating until 1 o'clock is nap time. Dude, we done jacked up nap time. Good gosh. Remember 3:30? 3:30 gives you the right to be able to take a nap until 1 o'clock when the rest of the world goes back to work at lunch.
That's fair enough. Yep.
I'm hungry.
My wife has a deal. Anytime I take a nap, she takes a picture of me or something. And I'm like, I work 14 hours a day, every damn day. I get up 3 hours before you do every morning, and you're going to act like I'm a lazy bastard taking a nap every once in a while? That ain't right, man.
She'd wear out her memory on her phone taking pictures of me because I'm going to have one every day. I probably won't today. I got to go back to damn work. But I tell you, man, it's been a pleasure being here and being a part of this. I appreciate the ability, the opportunity to share my story and share who I am, and I think it's so important, Daniel, with what I'm trying to do as a bid spur maker that people understand what it is I'm trying to do for them, right? It's not all about me and my gold buckle of being the best bid spur maker in the world, but I do want to become the Mont Blanc. That's operating a quality business and creating a product that will last years and years and years past my death. And long after my name is forgotten, I want people to look at my work and go, that's incredible. Whoever did it, however long ago. And if I can do that for somebody else and it lives in their world, that's good. That's a good thing. And I am selfishly trying to become the only living artist that ever made a living before I die. Right? My kids. I do want to make a living.
Yeah.
And I want to make a good living. I'm not bashful about that. But I'm going to charge you more than anybody's ever charged you for a bid or a pair of Spurs. But I'm going to make you feel like you got every damn penny out of it by the time we're done, hopefully. So,
well, I think your work speaks for itself. I mean, like I say, I've been following you for a long time before I ever contacted you, and you do some stuff that if people can't look at it and tell that it's the next level, then I feel sorry for them because it's pretty clear to me. But anyway,
I appreciate you.
All right. Well, thank you for being on. Pleasure to talk to you, and hopefully we both get more out of it now. So.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. So See you soon.
All right, man. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you next week for another episode of Adult Onset Horsemanship. I've been your host, Daniel Dolphin.